at 1-800-492-2589 to schedule an immediate appointment with me in Killeen, Temple, or Waco. I'll appeal your denial and work hard to get you the benefits that you deserve. That's 1-800-492-2589. The phone call is free, and so is the appointment. You'll feel a lot better.
If you're an advertiser, think about this.
Your prospects are bombarded with messages. Some, like TV commercials, can be fun. Some, like pop-ups and spam, are annoying.
And in a crowded media environment, it's important that you stand out.
That's why we seek out great sponsors with products and services that make your life better.
We feature your message in a radio show that's upfront, never background, and we talk about you on air.
It's all about branding and keeping your product top of mind.
So call or email us today.
Be part of the Logic Nation radio family.
I was visiting my 75-year-old aunt the other day when her phone rang.
Hello? It's you again.
She seemed nervous.
Well, I don't think I need any more life insurance.
The caller was doing a great job keeping my aunt on the line.
Okay, so you need my credit card number?
My aunt went to get her purse, so I decided that I would ask a few questions. Well, as soon as I introduced myself, the caller hung up.
McGruff the Crime Dog here. Recognizing the signs of fraud can be difficult for older people. Often they're very trusting and consider it impolite to hang up. The National Crime Prevention Council wants to educate seniors so that these scams can be reported to local law enforcement agencies.
Financial fraud can include identity theft, fake check and wire transfer scams, investment and credit card fraud, and online charitable solicitations. Unfortunately, only 1 in 5 of these crimes are reported. To learn more, go to www.ncpc.org. That's ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council and the U.S. Department of Justice.
Welcome back into Logic Nation. David Hodges, CJ Grisham with you this morning. And, of course, it's time for breaking news. The Mueller investigation, the Mueller testimony, the Mueller hearings, whatever you want to call them, is underway in the House of Representatives.
Watch live.
Watch live.
The riveting.
You know, I would encourage everybody, if you're really that interested in the Mueller investigation, find some station on the radio or find some audio off the internet if you're really that interested in it, because listening to those people, or watching those people is just boring. I mean, Jerry Nadler, the camera comes to him about every time because he's the chairman of the thing, and you don't really want to look at Jerry Nadler, not that much. Speaking of Jerry Nadler, here's Jerry Nadler and Bob Mueller. This is one of the first questions of the morning.
You wrote, quote, "If we had confidence after a thorough investigation of the facts that the president clearly did not commit obstruction of justice, we would so state. Based on the facts and the applicable legal standards, however, we are unable to reach that judgment," close quote. Now, does that say there was no obstruction?
No.
In fact, you were actually unable to conclude the president did not commit obstruction of justice. Is that correct?
Well, we, at the outset, determined that we, when it came to the president's culpability, we needed to go forward only after taking into account the OLC opinion that indicated that a sitting president, cannot be indicted.
So the
boy, that sounded strong for somebody that's supposedly, Saint Bill Mueller or Saint Bob Mueller. He and James Comey are really tight. They're buddies. They're the two of the finest people on the face of the earth.
Quick, I'm gonna channel Bob Mueller here. Just ask me any easy question. Anything.
Did the president collude with Russia?
That's hard. Something easy, like what's your eye color?
Okay, what's your eye color?
Yeah, that's Bob Mueller.
Yeah, and then Doug Collins is going to come along in a minute and go, "Mr. Mueller, have you stopped beating your wife? Yes or no? Yes or no, sir? Yes or no?"
It's a yes or no question.
Anyway, Gee whiz. Okay, here's a little bit more of that scintillating testimony.
The report did not conclude that he did not commit obstruction of justice. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And what about total exoneration? Did you actually totally exonerate the president?
No.
Now, in fact, your reports expressly states that it does not exonerate the president.
It does.
And your investigation actually found, quote, multiple acts by the president that were capable of exerting undue influence over law enforcement investigations, including the Russian interference and obstruction investigations. Is that correct?
Correct.
You know, if he's got evidence that the president has committed obstruction, why didn't he put it in the report? And why didn't he say that we recommend that you bring the president up on charges, even if we have to wait until after his presidential run is up?
Well, and here's the follow-up question that someone who doesn't have a partisan bend would ask as a follow-up, and that is, okay, is there such a thing as an investigation that would, absent another suspect, completely exonerate an individual? And the answer to that is no. Because, you know, Nadler bets on the fact that most Americans are somewhat ignorant, and I mean that in a literal sense, not a defamatory sense, are ignorant of the legal process and legal jargon. And so when he talks about the fact that you couldn't completely exonerate, well, that's not the way the legal system works. You have to prove guilt. You don't prove innocence and what Mueller found and even said there is that they couldn't prove under the legal standards
that he did do anything.
Yeah.
So
we have legal standards that determine innocence and guilt.
Well,
and that legal standard is not, people don't investigate and prosecute to find innocence. They investigate and prosecute to find guilt.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can't find guilt, then the presumption is innocence. So
you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. That's that used to be the basis of the law. And that is, of course, the law if you're a good Democrat, liberal, progressive socialist. Now, if you're a Republican, you're guilty until proven innocent, which is just absolutely backwards because they say so.
Yeah.
And even if they can't prove it in court, they'll kill you in the media, in the court of public opinion by the media, or try to. And worked with this president. And that drives them nuts. Aaron Zedbley is sitting at the right hand of the most sainted man in America, Bob Mueller, today. Now, generally.
Remember how hated he was before?
Zedbley?
No, Mueller.
Oh, yeah. Now he's, again, they've given him back his sainthood status because he's come back to talk. And anything he says today that's anti-Trump will be taken completely as gospel. Total gospel. But Mueller was supposed to sit there like, Hillary Clinton sat for, 7 or 8 hours back, What difference does it make anyway, Senator? During that Benghazi hearing.
What difference at this point does it make?
Right. But Mueller, as you heard there, with him scrambling around for words, it's probably a good thing for the Democrats that they let Aaron Zedbley at the 11th hour sit right with him instead of sitting behind him. Because I don't think Mueller's even read the Mueller report, to tell you the truth. I'm to the point now to where I don't know that he's ever paid any attention to it. They stuck his name on it. But
you have to wonder why.
All the staff all the Hillary Clinton supporters that were lawyers that were on that Mueller investigation team, they're the ones who wrote it. They're the ones who wrote it, and that's one reason that they left that hole that says, if we would have found anything to exonerated the president, we would say so. Well, you didn't do. Okay, how about did you find anything that wouldn't exonerate the president? Did you find anything that made him guilty? Apparently not, but. Anyway, it's got to be a bunch of lawyer double talk today, and Zedbley's going to be right there to be the support animal. Support animal. That's what it is. Support buddy.
That's the word.
The support buddy for good old Bob Mueller. MSNBC's Nicole Wallace had a guest on yesterday named Rick Wilson, who told the MSNBC viewer that Fox News wouldn't air ex-special counsel Robert Mueller's upcoming highly anticipated congressional testimony, and MSNBC anchor Nicole Wallace didn't correct him. Wilson was seemingly repeating an already debunked claim originally made over the weekend by MSNBC contributor Joyce Vance. Fox isn't showing Mueller's testimony on Wednesday. Fox has been running a box in the right-hand corner of the screen nearly all week long that says the Mueller investigation live all day here on Fox News. But apparently they only watch MSNBC, so they wouldn't know what Fox is going to do. Fox is going to cover the entire thing in its entirety, and Vance, who started this thing, had deleted his message, but not until he received over 40,000 engagements on Twitter. So there you go.
Yeah, you can go to video.foxnews.com and watch it live if you so desire. While you're cleaning the house, have it in the background or something.
Yeah, and I really can't tell you that I recommend it because it's not very good. Meanwhile, James Comey came out from under his rock yesterday and to give questions for the Democrats to ask Mueller. Did you find that there were a series of contacts between the Trump campaign and individuals with ties to the Russian government? Well, Comey apparently didn't read the Mueller report, which concluded the investigation did not identify evidence that U.S. persons knowingly or intentionally coordinated with the Russian interference operation. So, I mean, these questions, in particular, did you find that a Trump foreign policy advisor learned that the Russians had dirt on Hillary Clinton in the form of thousands of emails? Why does it? Comey belongs in jail, not on Twitter. You know, he does. That's where he belongs.
I've got the video of the hearing kind of on a separate screen here.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Mueller looks extremely bored.
Well, Bob Mueller doesn't have a big old pile of pancakes and some coffee by him and some maple syrup. Now, he'd be a lot more interested at that.
Yeah. But even though he's being questioned by a friendly Cohen right now, he's just looks very bored.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just looking at him.
I got a feeling there's a lot of people around America right now that are looking at that and they're pretty bored. One final thing about today. Last night, Maxine Waters predicted the special counsel Robert Mueller's appearance before Congress will give the Democrats the ammunition they need to start impeaching immediately. Impeach 45 first, prison next. The lovely Maxine Waters. 866-895-6442. Back in a moment.
At Logic Nation, our power is in our callers. In fact, Pat's on the phone. Pat, welcome to Logic Nation. What's on your mind today?
I get that you're the Logic Nation, but what about love, peace, and harmony, man? Why don't you ever talk about these issues?
We try to keep our listeners informed about local issues that matter to them, both locally here in the great state of Texas and in our nation.
You talk an awful lot about freedom and constitutional rights, but what about my right to express my emotions like love, peace, and harmony? What about my right to not be offended by what you're saying?
Well, Pat, you've gotten off the logic train, and now you're boarding the emotional express. That's a high-speed rail to nowhere. Here at Logic Nation, irrational emotional instability has no place in logical discussion.
But I need constant reassurance that my emotional stability will be coddled and my opinions force-fed to me.
Listen to Logic Nation Monday through Friday from 8 to 11 a.m., right before Rush, right here on KTEM, where logic is never derailed by emotion.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the Grads of Life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
For almost 2 centuries, Americans have enjoyed the valuable privileges of freedom. Now, freedom needs each American to dedicate himself to its preservation. We must not allow our liberties to be endangered by neglect of our duties as citizens. During this year of rededication, join with your fellow Americans in reaffirming the principles on which this country is founded and the safeguarding of those principles. Make it your business to see that federal, state, and local governments are conducted honestly. Help to maintain the good morale of your sons and daughters in the armed forces. Learn the facts about all candidates and issues. Then vote for the one you believe in. Make the most of every minute on your job. Produce as much as you can, and thus increase our military and economic strength. Work for better schools and a better community. Guard your American heritage of freedom. It needs you.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that Mommy and Daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back into Logic Nation. David Hodges, C.J. Grisham with you from the Ed Laughlin Attorney at Law Studios in Temple. 71 degrees outside. 866-895-6442 is our number. Would like to inform you that tomorrow, I think it's going to be a fun interview. It's at 9:17 tomorrow morning. Bob Lawson, who with his pal Benjamin Powell, they are 2 high-end economists, and they've written a book called Socialism Sucks. Two economists, drink their way through the unfree world. Anyway, he'll be with us at 9:17 tomorrow. The book will come out, the 30th of this month, and you can pre-order it on Amazon.com. I think you've already pre-ordered, right?
I've pre-ordered the audio book so I can listen to it on my way to law school and hopefully get it before I leave.
Oh, well, I'm sure you'll get it. They usually send things like that on the release date.
Usually I get it. I should get it on the release date, so they'll send it out like a day or two before.
Anyway, but it's going to be Bob Lawson tomorrow with one of the co-authors of Socialism Sucks. 2 economists drink their way through the unfree world. That ought to be a lot of fun. So we're watching a little bit more of the Mueller hearing. Mueller looks like a befuddled old man. I mean, really, it's not. This is not a good look. If this is the Democrats' hope for salvation, he's fumbling and stumbling all over the place, even when the Democrats are talking to him.
Yeah,
it's not a good look. It really isn't. So we'll see how this goes. I'm sure it'll be interpreted on CNN and MSNBC as Bob Mueller was crisp. He hit all the right spots. Here's Raymond in Temple. Let's go to Raymond. Hey, Raymond.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to make a brief statement on this issue, and what I'm going to say, I mean every word of it. I know, CJ, you're well capable of taking care of yourself in any type of situation. I get around this town, all over this town, and I guarantee you, sir, if I ever seen anybody trying to hurt you or your family with these death threats that you've been getting, you can guarantee that I'll be there beside on your side, due to the fact that we're brothers of military issues that we both serve. And whoever this scumbag is out there threatening people like this, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not afraid of the devil himself, much less somebody like that. He better be glad he ain't threatening me, because instead of him looking for me, I'll be looking for him. But either way it goes, sir, I just wanted to let you know this, and I mean every word of it. God bless you. And I don't know how you live from day to day knowing somebody's out there trying to hurt you. But what I said to you, sir, I mean every word of it. You have a good day. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it, Raymond. How I live is I just don't live in fear, and I also live armed.
Well, there's that, but the thing is, a lot of these people, when they're out there giving death threats, it's like the people that, I spent all weekend being called racist and Nazi by a couple of our followers on Facebook that are just trolls. But that's all they could say was racist and Nazi, racist and Nazi, racist and Nazi. One of them called me a racist and then came back after I said I put a note, I posted something else. I wasn't responding very much. And then he called me a Nazi after that. And I said, okay, which am I, racist or a Nazi?
Right.
You can't have it. But anyway, yeah, a little cuddle bear like me. Why would anybody attack? But something, I'm not afraid of either one of them because one of them uses a fake name. And that already tells you that he's a coward. So whatever.
Yep.
Whatever. All right. And really, death threats. I know you got to take them. You got to take a little seriously, but for the most part, that's a bunch of bold talk by some little people most of the time.
So the way that the left is able to achieve its agenda, which their agenda is socialism and then communism, is first thing you've got to do is you've got to dehumanize and delegitimize your opponent. And you do that through name calling. And that's all they've got. That's the whole agenda.
Yeah, that's pretty much their politicians' agenda, too. The national conference, the American Library Association, has a national conference that provides librarians from across the country with strategies for advancing gender identity ideology in schools and finding ways to bring drag queen story time into public libraries despite the objections of local communities. Now, you would think the American Library Association would be about books, computers, making sure that people have access to information, but no, they're about advancing gender identity.
Yeah.
What in the world? The conference was held.
Is there any wonder why when you go to libraries these days, you don't really see a lot of people there? The only time you ever see a lot of people there is when they're doing one of these events because everybody's protesting them.
Yeah. Well, but a lot of people aren't protesting them. I think some parents think that, oh, this is good. This will broaden my child's mind. You know what liberals do. Either that or they think that the drag queens look enough like clowns to where it's okay.
That's what it is. It's like a circus for them.
Anyway, this Library Association conference was held in Washington, D.C. 21,000 attended that work for libraries across the country, and they discussed queerness in comics, a child's room to choose, encouraging gender identity and expression in schools and public libraries, LGBTQ creators and characters in kids, tween, and teen comics, reading the rainbow, teaching kids about pride and the LGBTQ history. Are you going to tell my parents the minor's right to privacy in the library? Ooh, that sounds creepy. Telling stories, expanding boundaries, and drag queen story times in libraries. This is the American Library Association.
Just so you know, the Louis Gohmert is just started questioning Mueller, and he asked him a very simple question: who wrote your 9-minute speech that you gave about the Mueller report, about the report? And he said, "I'm not going to get into that."
Well, you knew.
But yet, when a Democrat is talking, he'll go into a little more detail.
Hank Johnson's up on my screen right now. He was before Louis. This is the guy that thought Guam was going to tip over for too many soldiers. 866-895-6442. Back in a moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, spring has sprung, and it's time for spring cleaning, and your headquarters for that is Smith Supply, located at 5202 Midway Drive in Temple, Texas. They have everything to clean anything, residential or commercial. From inside your house to outside at your pool, Smith Supply can run a complete computerized water analysis for free. Then the experts at Smith Supply can recommend the chemicals that will get your pool looking great for your family and your friends this spring and summer. They can also keep your pool in outstanding condition all season long. Plus, they sell pool equipment. With everything to clean anything, Smith Supply can help your inside cleaning as well. Don't forget, they deliver within 150 miles of Temple and can ship anywhere in Texas. So, get your house and pool in spring cleaning shape and save money on high-quality products. SmithSupply.com or call 254-773-3592. That's 254-773-3592 or online at smithsupply.com. Since 1961, Smith Supply.
Divorce attorney Ed Laughlin. Is your marriage on the rocks? Have you been wanting to get a divorce but just haven't found an attorney that you can afford? Well, your search for an affordable attorney is finally over. I'm attorney Ed Laughlin, and I've been helping Texans get fast, inexpensive, hassle-free divorces for 25 years. I offer reasonable fees and always allow my clients to pay out their fees in payments that they can afford. Call me today at 773-8399 or toll-free 1-800-492-2589 to schedule a free confidential appointment to get started. The first visit is always free.
What are you waiting for? Call Ed Laughlin today at 1-800-492-2589 or visit Ed's website at edlaughlin.com. That's 1-800-492-2589 or online at edlaughlin.com. That's 1-800-492-2589. Let Ed help you with all your legal needs. You'll feel a whole lot better. See Ed's ad in Names and Numbers.
Mike Mueller here to tell you to wrap your head around success and talk straight. Cliches don't solve problems. It's a win-win situation when you hire me to speak to your business. I will cause a paradigm shift in your profitability by showing you visionary ways to circle back and think outside the box. The Mueller Plan is where the rubber meets the road as we ballpark success as a team and go back and sharpen our pencils to right-size your business plan. I'll show you how to manage the optics of changing through creative destruction and downsizing while making customer service our number one priority. Our employees are of utmost importance, so let's square the circle and at the end of the day, take the lipstick off the pig and strategize the perfect storm. Mike Mueller's Mueller Plan, an agent of change. So don't leave any money on the table. Hire me to speak to your business today. Remember, hope is not a strategy.
Welcome back to Logic Nation. We're going to go to the Mueller hearings right now because Louis Gohmert, the Freedom Caucus, and the great state of Texas is grilling Mr. Mueller at this moment.
For us, let me ask you, when you talked to President Trump the day before he appointed, or you were appointed as special counsel, you were talking to him about FBI director position again. Did he mention the firing of James Comey?
Not as a candidate.
Did he mention the firing of James Comey in your discussion with him?
Cannot remember.
Pardon?
Cannot remember. Don't believe so, but I'm not going to be specific.
You don't remember. But if he did, you could have been a fact witness as to the president's comments and state of mind on firing James Comey.
I suppose that's possible.
Yeah. So most prosecutors want to make sure there's no appearance of impropriety. But in your case, you hired a bunch of people that did not like the president. Let me ask you, when did you first learn of Peter Strzok's animus toward Donald Trump?
In the summer of 2017.
You didn't know before he was hired?
I'm sorry?
You didn't know before he was hired for your team?
Know what?
Peter Strzok hated Trump.
Okay.
You didn't know that before he was made part of your team. Is that what you're saying?
I did not know that.
All right. When did you first learn?
When we did find out, I acted swiftly to have him reassigned elsewhere in the FBI.
Well, there's some discussion about order anybody to investigate the deletion of all of their texts off of their government phones.
Once we found that Peter Strzok was an author of...
Did you ever...
May I finish?
Order... Well, you're not answering my question. Did you order an investigation into the deletion and reformatting of their government phones?
No, there was an IG investigation ongoing.
Well, listen, regarding collusion or conspiracy, you didn't find evidence of any agreement, I'm quoting you, among the Trump campaign officials and any Russia-linked individuals to interfere with our U.S. election, correct?
Correct.
So you also note in the report that an element of any of those obstructions you referenced requires a corrupt state of mind, correct?
Corrupt intent, correct.
Right. And if somebody knows they did not conspire with anybody from Russia to affect the election, and they see the big Justice Department with people that hate that person coming after them, and then a special counsel appointed who hires dozen or more people that hate that person, and he knows he's innocent, He's not corruptly acting in order to see that justice is done. What he's doing is not obstructing justice. He is pursuing justice. And the fact that you ran it out 2 years means you perpetuated injustice.
I take your question.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
that was good.
Because Louis was whooping on him, and of course, good old Jerry Nadler had to come to his.
The gavel is here to help you. I got your back there, Robert.
I don't know that without the video of it, but Mueller is he's been terrible all morning long so far. And he's only in his first hour. We're not even close to being through the first hour nearly.
Well, lucky for him, he the way that these hearings work is you've got a Republican and then a Democrat, a Republican then a Democrat, and so he'll be able to get a break every other time.
But what was the problem with when Nadler was talking to him early this morning? I mean, this is Nadler.
Paul Rudd.
This is his buddy. This is his guy, and listen to this. I think I've got this in the right spot. Listen.
No.
In fact, you were actually unable to conclude the president did not commit obstruction of justice. Is that correct?
Well, we, at the outset, determined that we, when it came to the president's culpability, we needed to go forward only after taking into account the OLC opinion that indicated.
Yeah, I guarantee you, though, CNN and MSNBC are going to say he was sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's been all morning so far. Every time we've been able to listen to it, he's just been I don't want to call and, whatever. I mean, the guy's he looks like he's a deer in the headlights at this point, especially with Louis. And I understand that, what's his name?
Louis was on fire.
Yeah.
That's Texas right there. Texas.
That's right. That was good stuff. Radcliffe from Texas also grilled Mueller, and apparently we didn't get to see that or listen to it because we were talking. But so two of our Texas delegation ripped him pretty good.
I can't wait to hear what Swalwell has to say.
He will be bold without being bold. 866-895-6442. Back in a moment.
Rich is just a really, really, really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Excuse me. I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me. Get granular. Keep me in the pipeline. But nada. Nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me, and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume, and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, This is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C. Take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D. Help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back into hour number 1 of Logic Nation. There's been a lot of misreporting or lying by omission, and this even goes up to Fox News Radio as far as I'm concerned, because I've been listening. I listen to that all the time, and even town hall media. They have a newscast that I listen to sometimes in the afternoons, and the DOJ has sent a letter to Bob Mueller to stay on point and stay within the parameters of his report. Well, that is true, but it's a lie by omission, because guess who asked for that report or for that letter? Bob Mueller. And here's William Barr, our Attorney General, saying the same thing.
They asked us for guidance in writing to explain or to tell them what our position was. So we responded in writing. The department sent the guidance they had requested.
So Mueller actually requested some
Yes.
Secondly, what do you think of Congressman Nadler lashing out saying this was arrogant to send this letter?
Well, he was misinformed as to the facts.
And thirdly, on Congress, any reaction to them holding you in contempt?
No.
Nothing?
Goes with the territory these days.
He's a beast.
Yeah, that's William Barr, Attorney General. But again, Barr says that the Mueller team asked them to give him guidance. What should he do? Because actually, he works under the Attorney General, the special prosecutor does. And he gave him guidance. But again, they took that in the liberal media and turned it around to where they
More
didn't
collusion.
Yeah, well, DOJ's trying to
Obstruction.
shut Mueller down. No, he asked for that. He was begging for that, basically. And Barr's a friend of Mueller's, and so to a certain degree. And so I think Barr's taking pity on him, because Barr apparently knows he's a fuddling old man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'm an old man too, but I'm not as old as he is. But the point is, I could give you a straight answer, I think, even under oath, and especially if my name's on the dadgum report.
Right.
And well, we missed Louis Gohmert at the start of that. Right before we came back from the break, Louis asked him, "Who wrote your 9-minute speech that you gave the other? Or no, something about? Did you write it?
Who wrote your 9-minute speech? Did you write your 9-minute speech? And he said, "I'm not going to get into that."
Yeah. So and then Louis said, "Okay, so you didn't write it. I thought so," and moved on. Anyway, so there's that. We'll check in on that as it comes, but I don't know that it's all that gripping at this point. And there's a lot of you, I'm sure, that are already sick of it. So we'll move on to other things. Transgender activist named Jessica Yaniv, a trans woman, really a man, and gosh, it just looks like a man in a big dress.
It's ma'am.
Yeah. She is suing to force women to oh my gosh. She's suing women to dehair his beanbag.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So he went to one of those spas or whatever where they do waxing, and
and the women didn't want to do that.
And of course, when he derobed, he's got his twiggenberries down there.
Yeah. Okay. He's also super passionate about hosting a topless pool party for 12-year-olds.
Yes.
He filed a gender identity demonstration complaint against mostly poor immigrant women for refusing to bikini wax him, but he also scheduled to appear before the township of Langley Council in British Columbia, Canada, this week to ask for permission for an all-body swim at 3 community pools where individuals, including girls as young as 12, will be permitted to be topless. The swim is for kids who identify as LGBTQ2S. I have no idea what the Q and the S. They just keep adding to this stuff. Anyway, in an appeal to bar parents from attending, Yaniv cited an interest in fostering a safe and inclusive environment.
Yeah.
So, banning the kids' parents, that'll give a safe and inclusive environment.
That's so inclusive that we're going to ban people for being there.
Sure.
That's how inclusive it is. This guy gave an interview to I can't remember if it was New Zealand or Canadian or Irish.
I think it's Canadian, probably.
But they're after all this kind of stuff, and was directly asked about, do you think women should be forced to touch your manly parts? And he said yes. And
really?
Yes. And he also...
Imagine if a heterosexual male had said that.
Right. Yes. This guy's a pervert.
Yes.
He wants women to touch his genitalia, his male genitalia. He wants the government to force them to touch his genitalia. And he wants to be able to look at topless young girls, not even women yet, while he's got his male genitalia.
Yeah, well, he has his nude swim across 3 city pools there in Canada.
And this mentally ill guy, by the way, also argued that he can get pregnant. He was specifically asked by Owen Schroyer of InfoWars, can you get pregnant? And he said yes. And he goes, no, you can't. It's impossible.
Not if you still got your male stuff and even men. No.
This guy is mentally ill.
866-895-6442. We're back with the top of the hour and the Squad and Trump next on Logic Nation.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
So you're giving up, just like that.
Giving up on what?
On getting an inheritance from a distant relative.
Don't you think if there were a billionaire in the family, we'd know about it by now?
Listen to me. We are one phone call away from riding horses on our own private polo grounds. One call from christening yachts, having a butler, using summer as a verb.
How do you figure?
Look, everyone's got a rich uncle somewhere. It's statistics. So the best thing you can do is just prepare for the inevitable.
Right, which is why I thought maybe it would be smart to take control of my finances. You know, start using a budget, get out of debt, set some retirement goals.
Budgets? Debt? You watch your mouth. Retirement shouldn't be a goal for us. It should be a way of life.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing bottom line. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Asking his White House counsel, Don McCann, to create a record that McCann believed to be untrue while you were in the midst of investigating the president for obstruction of justice, correct?
Generally correct.
And Mr. McCann was an important witness in that investigation, wasn't he?
I'd have to say yes.
Did the president tell Porter to threaten McCann if he didn't create the written denial?
I'd refer you to the write-up of it in the report.
In fact, didn't the president say, quote, and this is on page 116, if he doesn't write a letter, then maybe I'll have to get rid of him, end quote?
Yes.
Did Porter deliver that threat?
I again refer you to the discussion that's found on page 115.
Okay, but the president still didn't give up, did he? So the president told McGahn directly to deny that the president told him to have you fired. Can you tell me exactly what happened?
I can't beyond what's in the report.
Well, on page 116, it says the president met him in the Oval Office. Quote, the president began the Oval Office meeting by telling McCann that the New York Times story didn't look good and McCann needed to correct it. Is that correct?
It's correct. So, as it's written in the report, yes.
The president asked McCann whether he would do a correction, and McCann said no. Correct?
That's accurate.
Well, Mr. Mueller, thank you for your investigation uncovering this very disturbing evidence. My friend, Mr. Richmond, will have additional questions on the subject. However, it is clear to me, if anyone else had ordered a witness to create a false record and cover up acts that are
Director of the FBI
We've been making
interviewed
high.
Joseph. And I'm curious as to why.
Well, we can't get into it, and it's obvious, I think, that we can't get into charging decisions.
When the FBI interviewed him in February, FBI interviews him in February, when the special counsel's office interviewed Mifsud, did he lie to you guys too?
Can't get into that.
Did you interview Mifsud?
Can't get into that.
Is Mifsud Western intelligence or Russian intelligence?
Can't get into that.
A lot of things you can't get into. What's interesting, you can charge 13 Russians no one's ever heard of, no one's ever seen, no one's ever going to hear of them, no one's ever going to see them. You can charge them. You can charge all kinds of people who are around the president with false statements. But the guy who launches the guy who puts this whole story in motion, you can't charge him. I think that's amazing.
I'm not certain I agree with your characterizations.
Well, I'm reading from your report. Mifsud told Papadopoulos. Papadopoulos tells the diplomat tells the FBI opens the investigation July 31st, 2016, and here we are 3 years later, July of 2019, the country's been put through this, and the central figure who launches it all lies to us, and you guys don't hunt him down and interview him again, and you don't charge him with a crime. Now here's the good news. Here's the good news. The president was falsely accused of conspiracy. The FBI does a 10-month investigation, and James Comey, when we deposed him a year ago, told us at that point they had nothing. You do a 22-month investigation. At the end of that 22 months, you find no conspiracy. And what's the Democrats want to do? They want to keep investigating. They want to keep going. Maybe a better course of action is to figure out how the false accusation started. Maybe it's to go back and actually figure out why Joseph Mifsud was lying to the FBI. And here's the good news. Here's the good news. That's exactly what Bill Barr's doing. And thank goodness for that. That's exactly what the Attorney General and John Durham are doing. They're going to find out why we went through this three-year saga and get to the bottom of it.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it. You hear it every time you finish a meal and never feel anything. But if we were able to associate this sound with a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural response from you. Save the food. Why are we doing this, you may ask? Save the food. Because this ad is trying to change your after-meal behavior through brainwashing. Because food waste costs the average family $1,500 a year. Save the food, cha-ching, and $1,500 extra bucks is like getting a pay raise. Save the food, cha-ching, you're promoted, which could pay for your child's braces. Save the food, cha-ching, you're promoted.
Check out my braces.
So when you hear this sound, rethink your behavior. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit SaveTheFood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Welcome back into Logic Nation for hour number 2 on your Wednesday Mueller Day. Hope you're having a happy Mueller Day. If you're a Democrat watching this, I don't know that you're having that happy Mueller Day because the Republicans have been really on point. The Democrats have been asking the questions that they want answered, and Bob Mueller looks like a doddering idiot. I mean, he really does. I mean, I'm not saying that.
You have to wonder if the sound bites are going to include the.
No, they won't. I guarantee you. They're at least not on the 2 of the 3 cable networks, and I'm sure Fox will probably, because he's such a good guy and he's been all around good Republican. He's had service all these years and blah 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 blah. So I'm sure that and Brett Baer and Martha McCallum are hosting the coverage today, and I love Martha, and Brett Baer's a good guy too. It seems like, but they are the most straightened up anchors that they have. So they'll bring on some other people that might throw stones, but they're not going to. Trust me on that. All right, let us talk about some other things. This is David Hodges and C.J. Grisham broadcasting on Logic Nation from the Ed Laughlin Attorney at Law Studios. It's only 75 degrees outside right now. Usually it's about 80 this time of day.
Yeah.
866-895-6442, the number to call if you'd like to talk about the Mueller thing or anything else. We're going to talk about, we're going to move forward here and talk about the squad. If anything breaks with the Mueller report, Jim Jordan just did a great job.
Yeah, and I've got it. I'll watch and see if anything else is happening.
Okay. But we're going to move on to the squad because Trump, they're playing right into his hands. I mean, it's so easy. He calls the squad out. And so they go out and they start doing their thing because nobody going to talk to them like that. Tell you what. 2 fine Muslims and AOC and Alana Presley. No. You can't talk about that. Presley's got to get her game up, though, because she can't find an open mic for the other 3. Ilhan Omar is calling for Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib have also called for opponents to be deported. Also is not the word that they should be using. And Joe Pollack wrote this for Breitbart, and he's usually a better writer than that. But Omar was found yesterday to have told a political opponent in the past that she needed to be deported using a rhetorical tactic that Democrats have said is un-American and racist. Now, again, Donald Trump never said anything about deporting them. He never said anything about sending them back to the country of their origin. He said, go back where you came from to your criminal and dirty places where you came from and fix it, and then come back and show us how. That's what he said. That was the tweet. But after he said that, of course, everybody went nuts, and the media started adding country into the tweet, which it's never been there. And then Omar and Tlaib and AOC and Presley were all, had to go to a press conference, and they were on every show. I don't think they got them on The View because that would have crowded The View. I don't think The View stage is that big, especially if you've got to have Whoopi and Joy Behar sitting in 2 seats apiece. But Omar has, in fact, called for an opponent to be deported. Her tweet from 2012 was unearthed as a similar tweet from Rashida Tlaib was also found. Rashida Tlaib. What did I say? Rashida Tlaib. Deport this a-hole in 2015. Omar's tweet read, "We are citizens and can't be deported. Why don't we deport you to wherever you came from?" And that was back in 2012.
Well, wait a minute. I don't get it. I thought that was racist.
Well, it's only when Donald Trump does something like that. It's not racist if somebody with a D by their name says it. But they've said worse than he has. It's been found out. But he's the disgusting racist, according to that. Speaking of Omar and racism, again, here we go. The Democratic Playbook 101. If you can't beat them, call them a racist.
Right now, even when we're talking about the president, people will say, his remarks are racist, and will forget the inherent racism that has always been part of him, and how much he always takes an opportunity to others to vilify them and destroy their existence and ability to access our justice system.
What is she talking about?
I don't know.
What in the world is she talking about? I mean, this is a guy that he was a reality superstar on television. He's been a billionaire. He's owned a professional football team at one time in his life. Nobody ever called him racist. Jesse Jackson gave him awards.
And the left used to love him. As a matter of fact, I mean, you don't have to play the whole thing. Just for fun, I put up a Donald Trump SNL skit up here from before he was president.
Yeah.
I mean,
House of Wings.
This is who he was.
Yeah, this is Trump.
They didn't have a problem with him back then.
This is Trump on Saturday Night Live, where they hate him now, but back in those days, he brought ratings.
Join me at Donald Trump's House of Wings.
Trump, you know our wings will make you happy. Trumpy, you know our wings will fill you up. Trump, if you want a place with awesome chicken wings, yeah, Donald Trump's House of Wings.
Am I saying I'm a chicken wing expert? No. But I can tell you this. The wing is hands down the best part of the chicken. Better than the head, better than the torso, better than the back. And at Donald Trump's House of Wings, you can get them with 5 different levels of hotness. Regular, hot, 3-alarm, suicidal, and hell spawn.
Right. Donald Trump's House of Wings.
It used to be funny.
Yeah, and he's dancing along with a couple of the black cast members, if I'm not mistaken, from Saturday Night Live at that point when they did that way back. But he's terribly racist, and whatever. He's inherently terrible about everything, according to, of course, the Squad and Ilhan Omar. Omar says that he's had inherent racism for years. Yeah, okay. She's also disgusted and gets offended when people ask she and Tlaib, because they're Muslims, questions about what they think about the Muslim faith.
Your second question is an appalling question because I always feel like there are bills that we vote on, bills we sponsor, many statements we put out, and then we're in a panel like this, and the question is posed, could you and Rashida do this? And it's like, how often should I make a schedule? Like, does this need to be on repeat every 5 minutes? Should I be like, so today I forgot to condemn Al-Qaeda. So here's the Al-Qaeda one. Today I forgot to condemn FGM. So here it goes. Today I forgot to condemn Hamas. So here it goes. Today I forgot. It is a very frustrating question.
A frustrating question. What she was asked if she agreed with female genitalia mutilation, and she says it is abhorrent. But, of course, she's a victim because people ask her questions that are different from other politics.
And I'll ask this, when and where? And please send me a message or an email, cj@logicnation.us. Has she ever condemned Al-Qaeda or Hamas? Ever, just once?
I don't think.
Show it to me.
I mean, she laughingly did it through there, I guess, but, Anyway. AOC better watch out. Omar may take over. Maybe Omar +3.
Social Security Disability Attorney Ed Laughlin.
Are you disabled and unable to work? Have you been denied your Social Security disability benefits? Well, tell the federal government that you mean business. Call me toll-free at 1-800-492-2589 to schedule an immediate appointment with me in Killeen, Temple, or Waco. I'll appeal your denial and work hard to get you the benefits that you deserve. That's 1-800-492-2589. The phone call is free, and so is the appointment. You'll feel a lot better.
Here at Logic Nation, we're here to inform you, entertain you, and engage you.
We're also here to keep you informed about great products and services. Our goal is to seek out great sponsors for 2 major reasons.
The first reason is that we need sponsors to ensure that we can continue bringing you cutting-edge commentary, sound bites, and callers.
Second, we love telling you about companies that make your life better.
That's logical.
So make your company a part of our radio family.
At logicnation.us. Today.
You hear the Logic Nation on our great radio station in this area, but there are other places to find us as well.
To be a caller on the show, the Logic line is 895-6442 or 866-89-LOGIC.
If you'd like to join our radio family as a sponsor, email me, David Hodges, at david@logicnation.us or executive producer Luann Anderson at la@logicnation.us.
Find us on Facebook, too. Like our new Logic Nation page to keep up with the articles and videos that we use on the air. Also find show content on Twitter, YouTube.
Just on this radio station you're enjoying right now. Tune in and be logical.
The Logic Nation is in touch. Hope you'll be too.
I'm a veteran. We hit a mine in Vietnam. When I came home, I didn't know where to turn.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory's been never giving up hope. My wife is always there to remind me we have a life to live.
DAV provides a lifetime of support, helping veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I am a veteran, but after I got out, I spent 2 years alone and homeless.
Every year, DAV helps more than 1 million veterans so they can reach victories great and small.
My victory was finding the support to get back on my feet. Now I'm getting things right with my family.
I finally admitted, with my PTSD, I wasn't doing well.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
Now
Welcome back into Logic Nation. This time tomorrow, we will have Bob Lawson with us. He's one of the co-authors of a book called Socialism Sucks. Two economists drink their way through the unfree world. And we're looking forward to that. You can pre-order that book on Amazon right now. And it'll be released on the 30th of this month. But anyway, we'll have a good time, I think, visiting with him. He and his partner, Ben Powell, apparently have a pretty good sense of humor, plus the fact that, socialism does suck. So, all right. Omar is out there calling for abortion access for illegal aliens. So not only should we pay for everything else, Sandra Fluck's abortions we should pay for. Now we should pay for all the illegal aliens. Every college student's abortion we should pay for. Everybody that wants one, the taxpayers of the United States want. And now we're just bringing in people from South America, and Ilhan Omar is promising them access to abortion.
And if you're in Zimbabwe or Australia or wherever, come on over. Get your abortion here in the United States, courtesy of you, David.
Yeah. I don't know. At Ilhan Omar's Planned Parenthood shack.
Yes.
I guess. Gee whiz. It's crazy.
Instead of border crossings, we can just have abortion crossings. Cross the border, get a free abortion.
Vox is asserting news of ICE raids and family separations are shaping people's reproductive lives in the Trump era. Planned Parenthood echoed the same view. Well, Planned Parenthood, they're in the business of that. But bring us you're tired, you're weary, and you're pregnant, and we'll take care of them, apparently. Or we'll take care of the babies. What a great United States that people like Ilhan Omar live in. President Donald Trump said yesterday he'll win Minnesota in 2020, arguing that Representative Ilhan Omar's radical views is only going to help him. He said in 2016, I almost won Minnesota. In 2020, because of America-hating anti-Semite Representative Omar and the fact that Minnesota is having its best economic year ever, I think I'll win the state. That, of course, caused all sorts of Democrats' heads to explode because he's not supposed to have a chance. But we'll see. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she spread anti-Israel fake news. She was retweeting fake news about Israel ongoing demolishment of several illegal Palestinian-owned buildings in eastern Jerusalem, claiming Israel was attacking the Palestinians just because of who they are.
So I have to ask AOC, if Mexico came into, New Mexico or Texas and started building buildings on our soil, would she oppose America tearing them down? Well, probably.
Probably. The original tweet was written by Ben Rhodes, who was a national security aide to President who walks on water, Barack Hussein Obama. Rhodes had little prior foreign policy experience when he rose to prominence in the Obama administration, although his brother was the head of CBS News. That's why Obama took him, because his brother was head of CBS News. Anyway, he tweeted out that imagine having your homes destroyed because of who you are. And, of course, AOC took the bait, and she's called for the fact that several illegal Palestinian, she didn't say illegal, but Palestinian-owned buildings in eastern Jerusalem got bulldozed. And she spread the false information to attack Israel before, and she's done it again now. And according to our government, even the New York Times reports, there's no evidence whatsoever that these 17 Palestinian homes were targeted just because of who they are. Rather, the buildings were being demolished because they were being built in violation of Israeli law and could have posed a security risk to the city as a whole, a city that includes both Israelis, Jewish and Arab, and Palestinians. So, way to go, Alexander Ocasio-Cortez. Meanwhile, one of our American-loving squad, Candace Owens, I put up on Logic Nation the other day, we have our squad. We got Laura Ingraham, Candace Owens, Judge Janine. I'm trying to remember the other one. Come on. Oh,
Laura Ingraham?
No, let's see. Judge Janine, Laura Ingraham, Candace Owens, and there's another one. And we've gotten plenty that could take the fourth spot, but I can't remember which one it was. It's on like I say, it was a meme that I put up. But Candace Owens is one of our American loving squad.
So just a quick update. Matt Gaetz is speaking right now, just started, but before him was Democrat Richmond, went over his time. The gavel was pounded a little bit, but he didn't say a word until Richmond finished what he was saying, unlike what he's been doing to the Republicans. So Nadler is definitely running this hearing as a biased witch hunt.
Well, what would you expect from Jerry Nadler?
And Gaetz is on fire, by the way.
Okay, let me join him in just a second. This Candace Owens story, all she said was, Trump's tweet about the squad is 100% truth. Stop defending these racists in the squad. And, of course, now, here we go, with Presley. Presley, who's also black, like Candace Owens, you got to say that, because Presley refers to Conway as Becky, a slur of white women. Come on, Becky. Yeah. All right. Let's see here quickly if we can get in here. And here's Gaetz. And we'll go back to the Mueller hearing just for a second or two.
That's beyond my purview.
No, it is exactly your purview, Director Mueller, and here's why. Only one of two things is possible, right? Either Steele made this whole thing up and there were never any Russians telling him of this vast criminal conspiracy that you didn't find, or Russians lied to Steele. Now, if Russians were lying to Steele to undermine our confidence in our duly elected president, that would seem to be precisely your purview, because you stated in your opening that the organizing principle was to fully and thoroughly investigate Russia's interference. But you weren't interested in whether or not Russians were interfering through Christopher Steele. And if Steele was lying, then you should have charged him with lying like you charged a variety of other people, but you say nothing about this in your report.
Well, sir.
Meanwhile, Director, you're quite loquacious on other topics. You write 3,500 words about the June 9 meeting between the Trump campaign and Russian lawyer Veselnitskaya. You write on page 103 of your report that the president's legal team suggested, and I'm quoting from your report, that the meeting might have been a setup by individuals working with the firm that produced the Steele reporting. So I'm going to ask you a very easy question, Director Mueller. On the week of June 9, who did Russian lawyer Veselnitskaya meet with more frequently? The Trump campaign or Glenn Simpson, who was functionally acting as an operative for the Democratic National Committee?
Well, what I think is missing here is the fact that this is under investigation elsewhere in the Justice Department. And if I can finish, sir, and consequently, it's not within my purview. Department of Justice and FBI should be responsive to questions on this particular issue.
It is absurd to suggest that a operative for the Democrats was meeting with this Russian lawyer the day before and the day after the Trump Tower meeting, and yet that's not something you referenced. Now, Glenn Simpson testified under oath. He had dinner with Veselnitskaya the day before and the day after this meeting with the Trump team. Do you have any basis, as you sit here today, to believe that Steele was lying?
As I said before, and say again, it's not my purview. Others are investigating what you
So it's not your
addressed.
purview to look into whether or not Steele's lying. It's not your purview to look into whether or not anti-Trump Russians are lying to Steele. And it's not your purview to look at whether or not Glenn Simpson was meeting with the Russians the day before and the day after you write 3,500 words about the Trump campaign meeting. So I'm wondering how these decisions are guided. I look at the Inspector General's report. I'm citing from page 404 of the Inspector General's report. It states, Page stated, Trump's not ever going to be president, right? Right. Strzok replied, no, he's not. We'll stop it. Also in the Inspector General.
Apparently it's only within his purview to investigate when someone in Trump's circle is lying.
It was
his
walking orders were apparently just to investigate Trump and Republicans.
Yeah, those are the only lies that matter, are Trump's lies.
Forget Hillary Clinton and forget
Steele,
Fusion GPS and Steele and the lawyer's office that set it all up. What was it? I forget what's the name of that place. They were using it as a front, basically, to filter money to Fusion GPS from the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign. But anyway, so that's what's going on with the Mueller investigation right now.
Yeah.
But, Gat's doing a pretty good job there. Back to things going on with the squad and other things. The House of Representatives overwhelmingly approved a bipartisan resolution Tuesday opposing an international effort to boycott Israel as Democrats try to tamp down an increasingly heated political rhetoric over differences with their longtime U.S. ally. The resolution passed on a vote of 398 to 17. Now, don't forget that Omar and Rashid Tlaib were ones that were pushing against this. In fact, they want to boycott Israel. Well, of the 17 that voted no, Omar, Tlaib, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and the only Republican to vote no, good old Representative Justin Amash, the newly independent congressman from Michigan. 866-895-6442. Back in a moment.
DWI and criminal defense attorney Ed Laughlin.
Just because you or a loved one has been pulled over or arrested for DWI does not mean you're guilty of DWI. I'm attorney Ed Laughlin, and to be arrested and charged with DWI, the officer has to only have probable cause that you're intoxicated. It's only the officer's opinion. However, to be convicted of DWI, your guilt must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a much stricter burden. If you have been arrested for DWI or any other offense and want an attorney who will rigorously defend you, call me at 1-800-492-2589 or log on to my website at edlaughlin.com. Over the past 25 years as an attorney, I've been both a prosecutor and now a defense attorney. You need an experienced attorney who will work hard to get you the justice that you deserve.
What are you waiting for? Call Ed now at 1-800-492-2589 to schedule a free confidential appointment or visit Ed's website at edlaughlin.com. First visit is always free. You're going to feel a whole lot better. See Ed's ad in names and numbers.
You wouldn't steal from a department store, would you? Shoplifting doesn't only hurt the store owners, it puts every employee's job in jeopardy. And if everyone shoplifted, it would weaken local economies to the point of unsustainability. The same principle applies to Social Security fraud. People who receive more benefits than they should or illegally get benefits by lying to Social Security aren't just making the system insecure, they're literally stealing from honest taxpayers. Anyone can report fraud anonymously. You can learn more about Social Security's relentless anti-fraud efforts at www.socialsecurity.gov/anti-fraud-facts. We aggressively investigate and pursue prosecution of those who try to cheat and steal from the system. Shoplifting and stealing from your neighbors is morally and ethically wrong. The same goes for stealing from Social Security. If you suspect someone is committing Social Security fraud, report it online at http://oig.ssa.gov/report or call the Social Security Fraud Hotline at 1-800-269-0271.
It can begin with an email, a phone call, a flyer in the mail, or perhaps a misleading website. Loan modification scams. They come in all shapes and sizes and under different names. Loan rescue firms, counseling services, mortgage consultants, sometimes posing as a legitimate mortgage company willing to help you modify your loan and get caught up with your payments. But beware, these are highly trained con artists looking to steal your home. They often know who you are, where you live, and because it's public record, know if you are on the brink of foreclosure. You're not not alone, however. The National Crime Prevention Council and U.S. Department of Justice have partnered to help homeowners identify and steer clear of these scam artists.
McGruff the Crime Dog here. Protect your home and safeguard your finances. It only takes a little time to become informed. Start by finding a free legitimate housing counselor today.
Take the first step. Visit www.ncpc.org/mortgage-fraud. That's ncpc.org/mortgage-fraud. This message is from the National Crime Prevention Council and U.S. Department of Justice.
A popular Christmas movie features the story of a dejected businessman who sees life as if he had never been born. He discovers that, despite all his failures, he has brought joy and life to countless people. Each person has so much potential for good, and nowhere is this potential greater than with an unborn child. This Christmas and always, please work to preserve the wonder of life for the unborn and their mothers. This has been a perspective on life from National Right to Life. For more information, visit our website at nrlc.org.
Sweet strawberry icing. You're in Goodwill, and just past that vintage denim jacket you spot miniature donut earrings. You lean in. Ah, that's the scent of shopping success. Because at Goodwill, every item you buy funds local job training and more. So bring home those donut earrings and bring home so much good to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Democrat Hakeem Jeffries is talking to Mueller, and basically all about, did Trump think about firing Bob Mueller? It's the Volume 2 stuff. It's the innuendo stuff. It's the stuff that there's no, the anonymous sources say, just like it was written in the Washington Post and New York Times. And Hakeem Jeffries has made it look, to him anyway, he's decided that this is obstruction because Trump thought about firing Mueller. Now, did Mueller get fired? Because I don't remember that.
No,
I remember him finishing the whole thing out.
I seem to remember, he went all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm. But according to Hakeem Jeffries, this is obstruction. Just thinking about firing someone.
Yeah.
Not doing it, just thinking about it. From an anonymous source in Volume 2 of the Mueller report. All right, let's see here. Oh, Congress did pass the permanent extension for 911 Victim Compensation Fund. The Senate voted, the House of Representatives yesterday, to fund the 9/11 Victim Compensation Fund in a 97-2 vote. And the House passed the bill last month. President Trump has indicated he'll sign it, and so they won't have to worry about money running out in the 9/11 Victim Compensation Fund. So I'm like I say, I'm of two minds about that, but it can't go to better. It couldn't go to better families, I guess, than folks that were actually trying to help, and other folks that were innocently died for no reason, thanks to our friends. So there you go with that.
Well, the problem, the only problem I have with this is that it's pretty much indefinite.
Yeah, it is indefinite.
It lasts pretty much forever, but there just aren't limits on exactly necessarily who is the people who fall under this. And I think that the way it's done and the way that this was passed is ripe for abuse.
It is.
And fraud, in my opinion. I don't think there's going to be enough oversight on this.
There can't be enough oversight on that, I don't think. But we'll see how they decide to do
That's
it.
my only frustration with this. I mean, they needed to do this, but the way that it was done, because it was all emotion based.
Oh yeah,
it is just completely wrong.
Well, Jon Stewart came and talked to Congress about it. And when an actor comes to Congress,
yeah,
they get action, I guess. Like I say, the House had already passed it, but the Senate passed it yesterday. All right, it is that time of morning and that time of day, and I'm sorry, but here we go.
For the little people, there's enough fresh air and sunshine in this great country of ours for everybody, and I'll see to it that you'll get your share.
The Democratic nomination, the people that are working for the Democratic nomination, Cory Booker He was out telling Seth Meyer Monday night that Donald Trump's a guy who understands he hurts you, and my testosterone sometimes makes me feel like I want to feel like punching him, which would be bad for this elderly, out-of-shape man that he is if I did that, this physically weak specimen. And, of course, hoots and hollers from the late-night crowd. Cory Booker, do you talk about your testosterone level to other men very often?
I don't ever talk about my testosterone.
I'm talking about my testosterone level to me. I
don't even know my testosterone
this is such
level.
a deal. Now,
I just know I'm a man.
I don't know if Cory Booker's gay or not. I don't care if Cory Booker's gay or not. I just think he's a weak guy, period, as far as a politician is concerned. Plus, if you notice, they only take Cory Booker's pictures usually from about the chest up.
Well, that's because
he's
the
got
media.
a gut.
Well, and also the media doesn't want us to see the skirts he wears.
Well, he's got a gut. Yeah, well, it may be too. But when a guy that's talking about punching people, I mean, he does this all the time. He talks about testosterone and, basically it's, I'm Cory Booker and I'm not gay. I'm not gay, damn it. I run around with Rosario Dawson. She's not my beard. No, I'm not gay. I got testosterone overhaul, man. I just want to go out and punch Trump. It's ridiculous.
And I'm surprised as much as he panders, I'm surprised he hasn't come out and said, I could only be so lucky to be gay. If only. Man, I just wish I could. You'd think that these Democrats these days, I'm surprised that's not what they're doing. I wish I were gay. I'd have such a happier life and blah, blah, blah.
It's just whatever. He's 50-year-old and he's unmarried. And, of course, Lindsey Graham's the same way. He's unmarried, too, on the Republican side. And there's a lot of people that think he might be that way, too. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah, who cares?
But he's at least Lindsey Graham's not going around talking about his testosterone level and, he's fiercely heterosexual, because Booker's even made that point a couple of times, how fiercely heterosexual he is. And he's an ex-football player, but okay. We found that there's football players that have been gay even since the 1960s. They play in pro football even. Let's see here. Where did I have this? Yes. We must have this. Let's get a report from Joe Biden.
Besides, I love babies. Show me babies. Lots of babies. Where's the babies? Line up the babies. Where are the darlings?
Where are the darlings? Women and children first. Joe Biden. The 2020 polls are out, and Joe Biden leads the field in every early state right now. The former Vice President, Joe Biden, leads the field in every early state, according to a series of new polls. Now, he's been out-praising segregationists, suffered a poor debate performance in which he struggled to defend his opposition to busing, which is such a vital issue for our day in 2019, busing. Still leads the field in a number of early delegate-rich primary states as a string of polls released by CBS News and YouGov. He's got he takes 24% when polled against the rest of the field. So Uncle Gropey Joe still doing all right. Stand up, Chuck. Oh, God
bless you, Chuck.
Need to sell your house? Most agents will put a sign in the ground, post it, and pray. My name is Ryan Smith of the Ryan Smith Home Selling Team and Keller Williams Realty, and I work hard to get my clients top dollar for their house. I'm so confident in my system that I will guarantee to sell your house in 90 days or less at a price you agree with, or I'll sell it for free. I've developed an exclusive marketing system proven to get you up to 18% more money. It doesn't cost anything to see what I can do for you. 254-213-5335. Using my system, I recently sold a house in Windmill Farms for David and Kim before their house even hit the market. I only get paid when you get results. Don't leave money on the table. Call me. No long-term contracts, no obligation. You're not happy, you change your mind, fire me. It is that easy. There's literally no reason not to call. 254-213-5335. That's 254-213-5335. We are the Ryan Smith Home Selling Team. Call us today and start packing tomorrow.
Here at the Logic Nation, we often encourage you to be logical. Now, I've got two more great words to live by. Get supplied. With Studio L as a center point, Smith Supply will provide you with everything to clean anything and deliver it on time within 150 miles. That means we can deliver cleaning supplies to any facility, any business, including hotels and motels, even industries and factories, anywhere in the Killeen Temple Fort Hood Metro, Waco, and Austin. No matter where you are, we can ship to your order. We also provide janitorial services and building maintenance in some areas. And our Temple showroom and our online catalog are open to the public. We're here to save you money and get your supplies to you on time, every time. So, get supplied. Since 1961, we're Smith Supply, 254-773-3592, and online at smithsupply.com.
Looking for a news source that gets you the news 12 to 18 hours after it happened? Sure you are. That's why you need the Morning Times Post. What better than walking out to your driveway and picking up a crisp, unless it's raining, feature paper? Nothing. The Morning Times Post. All the news we think you should know. Plus, our nameless liberal editorial board will help you know how to think about the news. Love Barack Obama? Scared of terrible earth-ending climate change? Voting for Hillary? You'll love the Morning Times Post opinion page. And wait, there's more. You need a subscription to also get our features. Want features on feeding the homeless? We got that. Will the marina be built right? I don't know, but you'll find out on our front page. Plus sports, comics, horoscopes. Where else you going to get that? Get your subscription today at our highest prices yet. The Morning Times Post. Good enough news source at $18.90. Good enough for you now. Welcome back into Logic Nation. From the Ed Laughlin Attorney at Law Studios here in Temple. 76 degrees outside. David Hodges along with C.J. Grisham. 866-895-6442 if you'd like to check in. And more Joe Biden news.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm running for President of the United States. Look me over. If you like what you see, help out. If not, vote for the other person.
Yeah, look him over.
Look me over. Look me over. I can unrobe if you need me to.
In Texas, according to this poll, Biden holds a double-digit advantage. This is a Texas Democrat primary. Biden holds a double-digit advantage over his nearest competitor with 27%. Beto O'Rourke is second in the Texas Democratic primary poll with 17%. And then after that, it's, Warren with 16%. Third place, both Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris at 12%. And another reason to put Julian Castro on suicide watch. He is tied with Pete Buttigieg at 4% in his home state of Texas. And he's the real Hispanic.
The real non-Spanish speaking Hispanic.
Yes, but Beto is a fake Hispanic that
speaks Spanish.
So that's just, all right. So Biden's he's got the lead in Texas. Also, just ahead of the second debate, which will happen on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, Detroit Mayor Mike Dugan, served as mayor of the struggling Detroit city since 2014. He's back in the front runner because of his ties to Detroit. Joe Biden's visited multiple times, and he cares deeply about our city, auto industry, and auto workers. Joe Biden has a whole career of watching out for the working class in this country. Yeah, he's done such a great job that it took, 2 years of Donald Trump to actually get the automobile industry started again in this country.
Yep.
But Biden was up there for 8 years plus another 40-something nearly in the Senate. But Joe Biden, he's the guy, according to the Detroit mayor. My question is, does Tlaib know about this? Because she's the congresswoman from Michigan, and I don't think she likes Joe Biden.
She's the only congresswoman from Michigan. Remember, there are no other. She represents.
Yeah. Well, there's Amash. Amash is from Michigan.
Oh no. There's no others. It's just Tlaib. No, she's the only.
You're right.
That's
true.
That's what she thinks. I'm sure. I'm the only voice that matters here.
Well, that's pretty much the case with all of the supposed squad, or as Trump's calling them now, AOC plus 3. Let's see. Tulsi Gabbard, the first Democrat that was in the race. She's starting to make some press appearances, but she had to go on on Fox Sports Radio, outkick the coverage with Clay Travis. She couldn't find a political show to put her on, so she went on on a sports radio.
Yeah,
syndicated show.
Well, and she talked a lot about surfing. I know before she got political, they did talk a lot about surfing.
All right, well, that's fine. Which she says that Kamala Harris is not qualified to be commander-in-chief. I kind of agree with her on that.
Kamala Harris is not qualified to serve as commander-in-chief, and I can say this from a personal perspective as a soldier. She's got no background or experience in foreign policy, and she lacks the temperament that is necessary for a commander-in-chief.
Well, she does have a temper on her. We do know that.
Yes.
Kamala, like I say, Pete Buttigieg is so happy that she is not in his debate. Now, Biden has got stuck with her again because, Mayor Pete's still like, oh, thank gosh, she can't get me for the racism that's going on in South Bend, or at least the alleged racism that's going on in South Bend. Liz Warren has unveiled a bill to cancel student loan debt for millions. She's got the plan.
Oh, I've got to hear this.
Because after she drank a beer, she sat down and wrote this plan to cancel approximately $640 million in student loan debt for millions of Americans. The Student Loan Debt Relief Act would cancel up to $50,000 in student loan debt for every household with a gross income less than $100,000, and roughly 42 million Americans, or about 3 out of 4 borrowers. The outstanding student loan debt has doubled over the past decade, and she says enough is enough. I have a plan to cancel student debt for millions of Americans and finally end this crisis.
So what is the plan?
Just
to end it?
I guess.
That's not a plan. That's a
I've read all
dream.
The way. I've read all the way through this. This is from Fox Business, and there is no way that I see that she's got a source of money to pay for this. So,
yeah, that's what I want to know.
I know she's going to raise taxes on the rich. I mean, that's the go-to thing, but that'll be a drop in the bucket compared to what we're talking about, because the rich know how to beat the tax thing as good as anybody. If more middle-class people would pay attention and learn how to play some loopholes.
So one person doesn't have to pay their debts, but the rest of America does.
Sure. And if you're an illegal, heck, we're going to give you free college anyway.
Yeah.
And pay for your abortions, your health care, the air you breathe. 866-895-6442.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi. I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
Well, before I left my campsite, I was putting out my fire, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear showed up and hugged me?
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. He likes it when people correctly put out their campfires. He's pretty big on wildfire prevention. He's just letting you know you did good with a hug. He's a hugger.
I just got a bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
All right, I'm going to let you go now. I've got a lot of ranger stuff to do. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you want to come and text us.
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music,
This is Mommy's jam.
then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back as we close out hour number 2 of Logic Nation for your Wednesday, 24th of July, Mueller Day around the nation. Mueller hearings going on. Bill de Blasio was on MSNBC's Andrea Mitchell Reports.
Andrea Mitchell.
NBC News. De Blasio was talking about Joe Biden. I think the challenge for Joe Biden is he was a central figure for the last quarter of the 20th century. He was a central figure in American government at a time when working people were going backwards. When we were going backwards on criminal justice, more and more division, more and more income inequality, more and more structural racism affecting people's lives, he was central to the status quo at that point. He has not provided us a believable vision of how he's going to break out of that history. Well, let's talk about this, Mr. Mayor de Blasio. Let's see, American people, working people going backwards, backwards on criminal justice, more and more division, more and more income equality, and more structural racism. That sounds like New York City to me.
Yes.
There are people who get to dump things on top of people's heads. Let's go to Bob in Killeen. Hey, Bob.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
I just had a question with all these Democrats running for president and saying that they're going to magically have all these students' loans disappear. Or is this going to be poof, they're gone? Or is it poof, the taxpayers are paying for them to get these degrees? And then what's going to happen with the colleges if this just forgiven and not paid by taxpayers? Because they got to pay their head coaches hundreds of millions of dollars for these football programs and basketball and all these programs for these colleges.
Yeah, the thing, too, as I figure, even Elizabeth Warren or any of these people, if they were to get elected, that promise goes poof in itself, and it's not going to go. It's not going to go anywhere. She's pandering for votes. She wants to get a bunch of young people all fired up, so they'll vote for her.
But that is the question, and it's the question that nobody is answering on the Democrat field is exactly what Bob's bringing up here. First of all, how do you pay for it? So you and me, David, I've paid off my college loans.
Mm-hmm. I paid off mine.
And
I want reparations.
And granted, and I'll be honest with everybody, I've got the GI Bill, but I had to pay for some of my daughter's loans.
Yeah.
So I paid off my daughter's loans. And so now I have to also pay for someone else's loans through taxpayers. And if it's just forgiven, because keep in mind, these are government loans, right? So the government loaned money to students, but paid that money to universities or will be paying that money to universities. Do the universities just not get paid now? How does that work?
One of the problems is I think what they're pandering for votes, like you said.
Yeah.
And that's going to work because a lot of these kids are young adults, I should say, still living in their mom's basement. That's going to appeal to them, whether it actually comes to fruition or not. They're still going to give their vote to that candidate. Y'all have a good day, and I'll sit back and enjoy the show.
No, thanks, Bob. Yeah, I only want trouble with leaning on those kids that are living in their mom's basement playing Xbox or whatever, Fortnite, whatever.
Hey, now, don't mess my Fortnite.
They may not have any interest in voting. Dude, I'd rather sit here, man, and just, because if they're that lazy, they probably wouldn't get out and vote. So we'll see how that runs out. We're talking about Mueller just for a moment. Luann just texted me that so far Mueller's tentative at best. By this afternoon, he just might progress to doddering. I thought he was already there, to tell you the truth, L.A. He seems to be losing ground. He is weak on what's in the report. It's kind of painful to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with her.
It's almost
completely.
like he didn't even write the report now.
No, he didn't write
I'm sorry, what page is that on?
Yeah. And like I say, he's still got another committee to face later on. and I'm sure we'll get some more sound bites for tomorrow. Sounds like this.
Did not commit obstruction of justice. Is that correct?
Well, we, at the outset, determined that we, when it came to the president's culpability, we needed to...
painful. But now, after he finishes with this one, he's going to get a little break, and then he goes to the House Intelligence Committee, which is a joke in itself, and Adam Schiff will be there.
He is a essentially unindicted co-conspirator. He's been identified as individual one, as the person who directed Michael Cohen to commit this fraudulent campaign scheme. And I assume that all this means in terms of the Southern District of New York is that the case will be reopened when he leaves office, providing the statute of limitations has not run.
Well, he's talking about the Cohen thing, and that, Cohen's unforgivable sin, according to Schiff, is that Cohen may have, or probably did, pay off the Playboy model and Stormy Daniels, excuse me. That's the unforgivable sin. I wonder how many people that Mr. Schiff has had to pay off in his lifetime, male or female. And I'm not talking about sex. I was just talking about he's a crooked politician. How many people do you think he's paid off in his time? No, that's Trump. Oh, I tell you, he's a bad dude. When we come back, Trump's Turning Point USA speech. Hear a little of that and reaction to it coming up.
I've been waiting so long. I know you've been wondering about me.
When you say you support the troops, do you mean it? Hi, this is Lou Diamond Phillips for the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Every day, more service members are coming home from combat. In cases, they return to no job, no money, and a lifetime of stress. That's where the VFW steps in, providing emergency financial support with their Unmet Needs program.
Coming home. Come running up to me. There's nowhere else I'd rather be.
For over 100 years, no one has done more for veterans than the VFW.
I'm coming home.
Please help us help them by texting the word HERO to 90999 for a $10 donation. That's HERO to 90999.
Chris, can you put the video game controller down for a second?
I can talk and play. Oh, I'm totally annihilating this punk kid in Nebraska.
I just feel like you're not acting like a grown-up in our relationship.
Am too.
Well, you still ride your skateboard to work, there's the comic book collection, the race car bed.
Look, I'm young at heart, but I put money into my 401k every paycheck. I picked up a few savings tips at feedthepig.org. I have control over my financial life now, and that feels pretty grown up.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. For free ideas and easy tips on ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
So, I bet I look like a grown-up to you now.
Well, except for the footy pajamas, I'd have to agree.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
You found evidence that the president engaged in efforts, and I quote, to encourage witnesses not to cooperate with the investigation. Is that right?
That's correct. Do you have a citation?
I'm on page 7 on volume 2.
Thank you.
Now, one of these witnesses was Michael Cohen, the president's personal lawyer, who ultimately pled guilty to campaign violations based on secret hush money payments to two women the president knew, and also to lying to Congress about the hoped-for $1 billion Trump Tower deal. After the FBI searched Cohen's home, the president called him up personally, he said, to check in and told him to, quote, hang in there and stay strong. Is that right? Do you remember finding that?
If it's in the report as stated, yes, it is right.
Yes, also in the report actually are a series of calls made by other friends of the president. One reached out to say he was with the boss in Mar-a-Lago, and the president said, he loves you. His name is redacted. Another redacted friend called to say, the boss loves you, and a third redacted friend called to say, everyone knows the boss has your back. Do you remember finding that sequence of calls?
Generally, yes.
When the news, and in fact, Cohen said that following the receipt of these messages, I'm quoting here, page 147 of volume 2, he believed he had the support of the White House if he continued to toe the party line, and he determined to stay on message and be part of the team. That's at page 147. Do you remember generally finding that?
Generally, yes.
Well, Robert Costello, a lawyer close to the president's legal team, emailed Cohen to say, quote, "You are loved, they are in our corner, sleep well tonight, and you have friends in high places." And that's up on the screen, page 147. You remember reporting that. Okay. Now, when the news first broke that Cohen had arranged payoffs to Stormy Daniels, Cohen faithfully stuck to this party line. He said that publicly that neither the Trump organization nor the Trump campaign was a party to the transaction, and neither reimbursed him. Trump's personal attorney at that point quickly texted Cohen to say, quote, "Client says thank you for what you do." Mr. Mueller, who is the capital C client thanking Cohen for what he does?
I can't speak to that.
Okay, the assumption in the context suggests very strongly it's President Trump.
I can't speak to that.
Okay. Cohen later broke and pled guilty to campaign finance offenses and admitted fully they were made, quote, "at the direction of candidate Trump." Do you remember that?
Yes.
After Cohen's guilty plea, the president suddenly changed his tune towards Mr. Cohen, didn't he?
I would say I rely on what's in the report.
Well, he made the suggestion that Cohen family members had committed crimes. He targeted, for example, Cohen's father-in-law and repeatedly suggested that he was guilty of committing crimes, right? The news, and in fact, Cohen said that following a powerful summary of these changing dynamics, and you said, I'm happy to have you read it, but I'm happy to do it if not.
I have it in front of me, thank you.
Would you like to read it?
I would.
Can you read it out loud? To campaign finance offenses and admitted fully they were made, quote, "at the direction." The evidence concerning this sequence of events could support an inference that the president used inducements in the form of positive messages in an effort to get Cohen not to cooperate, and then turn to attacks and intimidation to deter the provision of information or to undermine Cohen's credibility once Cohen began cooperating.
I believe that's accurate.
Okay, and in my view, if anyone else in America engaged in these actions, they would have been charged with witness tampering. We must enforce the principle in Congress that you emphasize so well in the very last sentence of your report, which is that in America, no person is so high as to be above the law. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just recently, Mr. Mueller, you said Mr. Liu was asking you questions. And Mr. Liu's question, I quote, "The reason you didn't indict the president is because of the OLC opinion." And you answered, "That is correct." But that is not what you said in the report, and it's not what you told Attorney General Barr. And in fact, in a joint statement that you released with DOJ on May 29th, after your press conference, your office issued a joint statement with the Department of Justice that said, "The Attorney General has previously stated that the special counsel repeatedly affirmed that he was not saying that but for the OLC opinion."
Look, no one likes an awkward silence, but it can do a lot of good. So seize the awkward.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Reach out to a friend who might be struggling with their mental health. It doesn't matter how you ask. For more information, visit seizetheawkward.org.
Welcome back into Logic Nation. David Hodges, C.J. Grisham from the Ed Laughlin Attorney at Law Studios here on Mueller Day, better known as Wednesday. And if you're a camel, better known as Hump Day. Hump Day! 866-895-6442. Call. And let us see what we have here for this hour. One thing before we move on. Yesterday night, John Hawley, a Republican from Missouri, reacted to the backlash for which he had been receiving for using the term cosmopolitan to describe left-of-center cities. Host Tucker Carlson reminded viewers that once President Barack Obama used the same terminology to describe the so-called elite. Hawley said he wouldn't back down, and they only categorized him as a bigot and a racist to shut down speech.
Yep.
Hawley says, that's right. What I've learned, Tucker, is that when it comes to liberals, there's only one thing they love more than being elitist, and that's accusing everybody else of being bigots in order to shut down your speech. In order to devalue the view of the American people, they say, oh, you're a bigot, you're a racist, because they don't want to admit what they've done. They don't want to admit their policies have done terrible things and shipping jobs overseas, hurted working families, and kept wages flat for decades. That's the Democratic legacy, and it's time that they owned it. And Hawley was pretty good last night, and he's right. The only thing I would have added to that is the liberals love thinking they're elite, and they love thinking the rest of us are just poor rednecks. They love the word bigoted and racist and Nazi and things like that. But really, we're just, there's always somebody saying, oh, look, it's a Trump rally, not a full head of teeth in the house. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah.
You can't make that stuff up. It's
Nope.
it's.
I can show you where I can point you right to the person that said it. So
yeah.
Anyway, so that's what that is. And this Mueller investigation thing now, or the Mueller hearing now, is going on endlessly. And we're talking with some of the non-stars of both parties that are taking the shots now. And it's got boring. It really has.
Yeah.
Eric Swalwell didn't even use his whole time.
No, and what Eric Swalwell said was, well, I'm going to be questioning you in the House Intelligence Committee anyway, so I'm going to turn my time over to Lou.
Okay. But so he went bold.
He went
but
bold.
Not bold.
Yes. Without being bald.
Oh, man. Anyway, I think we've come up with a good idea for these hearings from now on.
I figured out why, though. Eric Swalwell couldn't because he was actually going to a salon to get waxed.
Oh, yes.
But apparently they turned him away.
Yeah. So that's probably the case. So really, you didn't have to conjure up that vision. But
he didn't have any facial hair or any body hair anyway.
It's gone to the point with these hearings. And I know why they do it. All these congressmen and women want to be seen for 5 minutes, talking down to whoever they've got there. And I get it, but I think we ought to go, set a number, pick a number, 5, let's say. Democrats pick their best 5. Republicans pick their best 5 on the committee. Do it. This thing would be over pretty quick. We've already gone through 5. I mean, I don't know how many rounds now, but I mean, thing would have been over. And we will know just as much with 5 people questioning on each side as we do with everybody there in the committee. So.
Give 5 people 15 minutes each and be done with it.
I don't know. I think 5 minutes is plenty enough. I'll tell you the truth.
If you're only gonna do 5, because you've got a committee of about 50 people, so instead of doing 150 minutes or 250 minutes, you're only doing 15 each.
Yeah, like I say, maybe so. We haven't settled on that yet. We're working on this. We've got a plan, like Elizabeth Warren. All right, let's move on to other things in the news. Donald Trump went to Turning Point USA, a student activist summit in Washington yesterday, and urged them to strive for greatness. He said, from the very beginning, America has been lifted higher by daring the dreams of young Americans like each and every one of you. The president spoke over an hour and a half to a cheering group of about 1,000 activists at the Turning Point USA 2019 Teen Student Action Summit yesterday. Trump noted the nation's first president, George Washington, was 21 years old when he received his first military command, and later chose 20-year-old Alexander Hamilton to be his top aide. He also noted that Betsy Ross was 24 when she began sewing that racially offensive first American. Well, no, that's Colin Kaepernick that said it's a racially offensive. When Betsy Ross was 24, she began sewing the first American flag, and that Martin Luther King Jr. was only 26 when he started marching for justice in Alabama. It was a very uplifting speech for the most part, but he also had time, as usual, to take some political jabs as well.
There is no way she stands for the values of the people of Michigan. But I watched her this
Talking
morning.
about Talib.
She's vicious. She's like a crazed lunatic. She's screaming. This is before she got into Congress. Who elected her? She's screaming like a total lunatic at one of our rallies. It's like I'm giving a little rally. And she starts screaming. And this is not a sane person, folks, when you look at that. And this is what we're up against. You have some of that. Now, the Democrats, I guess, are forced to embrace her, and I call it AOC plus 3. Okay? AOC plus 3. Not that AOC is a bargain, because she's not. I mean, she's no bargain. Look, I mean, we'll go into it at some point. I'll tell you all about AOC. I got more on AOC.
Trump also invited high school sophomore Hunter Richard to speak after he was allegedly assaulted by a man after he wore his MAGA hat while going to a Whataburger restaurant here in Texas with friends. And, Hunter Reed was there at the Turning Point USA Summit as well. Not everybody enjoyed the Turning Point Summit with Trump talking to the youth of America, the conservative youth of America. Let's see. And that includes, of course, late-night laugh fest master Stephen Colbert. Here's Stephen Colbert about the Turning Point USA speech to teenagers yesterday.
My mother used to quote to me, "It were better a millstone were hung around your neck and be cast into the deepest part of the sea than you would lead one child astray." Well, today, Donald Trump strapped on a millstone and some scuba gear and gave a really bad speech to conservative kids at something called Turning Point USA's Teen Student Action Summit. Teen Student Action is normally something the vice principal has to break up underneath the bleachers. Hey, you two! Hey, you two! No summiting down here, no summiting. No summiting till after marriage.
Yeah, wasn't that funny? Did everybody get a big old, was that just not the most hilarious thing you ever heard?
You know, it's funny because whenever it's for example, March for Our Lives kids or, I don't know, Nazi youth, the left loves them, loves when the youth are involved. And youth are our future, and we've got to engage the youth, and we've got to get them involved. And by the way, let's let them vote at 16. And when it's a conservative, suddenly they feel differently. Suddenly, if it's conservative youth, they have a different outtake on
conservative youth are boring, and they're all Nazis, and we get Ole Miss professor James Thomas compared the pro-Trump teens to Hitler youth yesterday on Twitter. Yeah, isn't that nice? Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk, the leader of Turning Point USA, he said teens camped out overnight to see Trump's Turning Point USA speech. When we come back, we'll go to the phones. So hang on for me. Talk a little bit more about the hearing going on and lots of immigration as well. Back in a moment.
Social Security Disability Attorney Ed Laughlin.
Are you disabled and unable to work? Have you been denied your Social Security disability benefits? Well, tell the federal government that you mean business. Call me toll-free at 1-800-492-2589 to schedule an immediate appointment with me in Killeen, Temple, or Waco. I'll appeal your denial and work hard to get you the benefits that you deserve. That's 1-800-492-2589. The phone call is free, and so is the appointment. You'll feel a lot better.
Here at the Logic Nation, we often encourage you to be logical. Now, I've got 2 more great words to live by. Get supplied. With Studio L as a center point, Smith Supply will provide you with everything to clean anything and deliver it on time within 150 miles. That means we can deliver cleaning supplies to any facility, any business, including hotels and motels, even industries and factories, anywhere in the Killeen, Temple, Fort Hood Metro, Waco, and Austin. No matter where you are, we can ship to your order. We also provide janitorial services and building maintenance in some areas. And our Temple showroom and our online catalog are open to the public. We're here to save you money and get your supplies to you on time, every time. So, get supplied. Since 1961, we're Smith Supply, 254-773-3592, and online at smithsupply.com. Here at Logic Nation, we're here to inform you, entertain you, and engage you.
We're also here to keep you informed about great products and services. Our goal is to seek out great sponsors for two major reasons.
The first reason is that we need sponsors to ensure that we can continue bringing you cutting-edge commentary, sound bites, and callers.
Second, we love telling you about companies that make your life better.
That's logical.
So make your company a part of our radio family.
At logicnation.us. Today.
I heard on the news about that 5-year-old who found his uncle's gun. The kid didn't know it was loaded.
I heard on the news about that 14-year-old girl who was bullied online for like a year. She couldn't take it anymore, so she got her dad's gun from his nightstand.
I heard on the news about that guy who broke into someone's house, stole a gun from the hall closet.
He accidentally shot his cousin in the head.
She killed herself.
And later, killed the owner of the store he was trying to rob.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, at-risk teens, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you to store your firearms safely. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back into Logic Nation. And let's go to the phones. As promised, here's Mark in Belton. Hey, Mark.
Hey, good morning.
Hey.
Guys, it's really hard to follow one of those crappy PSAs, but I will anyway.
Hey, those aren't supposed to get on the air on the radio. We're just that's a place filler.
Yeah, I know exactly what y'all have to do them for, and it's a load of crap that's just anti-Trump ad. Let's get to the two quick comments. One on the hearings. I want to point out the fact that we're not going to change a Democratic mind. If anybody's watched this hearing so far this morning, the only one asking pertinent questions is our side, and it's the why this was done and why that was done, and they're not getting answers.
Of course not.
I guess everybody notices that he's answering the Democrats' questions with answers or refer back to my report, whereas with the Republicans, it's I can't comment, that's blah, I can't do this, I can't do that, can't make a comment, blah, 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 blah. But if we're careful, we can get some things out of this, like the fact that this was all started by a gentleman who lied to the FBI, which was reported in the report, as Jim Jordan asked. 3 times in the report it says he lied to the FBI, yet he was not indicted like all the others that lied to the FBI and filed on and put in jail.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a giant joke, and it's going to be a giant joke, and the Dems are never going to give up. We have still, like I said before, we have to keep our side energized beyond the point of the mediocre, so to speak.
Well, you know something. In one respect, Mark, this stupid stuff like this, these stunts by the Democrats, I think energize a lot of the base. Maybe even some people that are kind of on the fence about Trump. But a lot of people just get tired. What are they doing? It's already been announced what the decisions were, and they just keep on.
And that's what I want to point out. We have to go on our side. We have to point these things out, show people videos, and show people the news feeds that actually tell what's going on. Because if you do this, I've convinced a couple of my friends here lately that weren't they're kind of riding the fence on this stuff. That maybe he did, maybe he didn't. The Democrats are saying he did. It's in the second volume of the report. And then I watched the feed really quick on the 5-minute break, and both the Democratic talking heads on the Fox thing say it's all in the second part of the report that he did commit 10 violations that are all jailable offenses, and they're all crimes and misdemeanors. And they go back and forth about collusion, non-collusion. So,
well, Hakeem Jeffries took time today to put all of the Mueller things together and declare that Trump had committed obstruction, even though Mueller was just sitting there looking at him, and he couldn't get Mueller to say it.
No, and they're not going to, and that they're going to use these little minutiae to convince. It's like I said before. It's this perception reality through manipulation is what it is. They're trying. You tell a lie big enough, long enough, and loud enough, and people start believing it. That's what they're doing here. I just want everybody to be aware of what's going on. This is a sham, was a sham, is a sham, will be a sham.
Yep.
Anyway, I appreciate it, guys. Get on to somebody else.
All right, appreciate it, Mark. Let's see. Well, as soon as we get the next caller loaded up, we will. Anyway, CJ's screening it along. So let's see here. 27%, according to a new Gallup polls out, 27% identify immigration as the most important United States problem. That surpasses a record 23% naming this June. So immigration's getting higher and higher on the minds of the American people. Small number of issues have ever eclipsed 27% since 2001 in the Gallup poll of what most concerns you as Americans. Here's the way it came. The question was, what do you think is the most important problem facing the country today? It was open-ended, so you could say what you wanted to. Immigration came in at 27%, and that was number one. The government the government came in at 23%. Race relations at 7%. Healthcare at 7%. And easy climate change crowd, the environment and climate change came in at only 4%. That's tied with unifying the country. The economy in general came in at number 3, but they were asking about problems. And the economy, I mean, what's the matter with the economy? Unless you're just not trying, or unless you're like Liz Warren, who says that she feels the economy crashing coming on just any minute. So everybody ought to vote for her so she can give away a lot of tax money to some people. The next thing is a religious decline. Education also number 3 at 3%, and lack of respect for each other at 3%. So immigration, according to the Gallup poll, even, is the number one thing. Let's see. The government has been cited by 27 or more Americans as the most important problem 6 times in the history of this poll. And shortly after the 9/11 terrorist attack, 46% of Americans named terrorism, but 27% is a high watermark for identifying a problem in this Gallup report since 2001, and that was the year of 9/11. So interesting. Let's see. Border Patrol agents insist that completed new sections of border barrier are helping them secure the border and making the agents safer in the process. This comes on the heels of media reports inaccurately asserting that no new barriers had been constructed during the Trump administration. Yeah, there's been a couple of internet and print media out there saying they haven't completed a mile of new wall. Well, then the Border Patrol comes out, and I saw the pictures. They've got a new 30-foot barrier, and he said the claim that no new sections of Trump's wall have been built, and anyone claiming that a 30-foot barrier that replaced a 10-foot high sheet metal fence isn't a new barrier doesn't know what they're talking about. This is Border Patrol Agent Mike Matzke. Agent Matzke spoke with Breitbart in his role as president of the National Border Patrol Council's Local 2554 in El Centro, California. He said, we've had people throw Molotov cocktails over the landing mat fence, and it was dangerous because we couldn't see through it like we can with Trump's new border. Here in El Centro, we have the biggest stretch of the border wall on the entire southwestern border. Trump's new wall section is 30 feet high. And anyway, so apparently, again, you got fake news as far as I just couldn't believe that they were saying that nothing had been built on the border. Those stories that came out yesterday. Nothing new.
Well, the Mueller report, it seems like now is sort of a distraction because they've lost the border argument, and they realize that it's now becoming a failed agenda for them. Yep. So, wait, let's bring Mueller back. We'll try this one more time since it failed the last 3 times.
But one of the faces, the 4 faces of the Democratic Party, two of them, in fact, just keep on double dipping back into, separating families and let's give illegals abortions for free and, all that good stuff. Omar and Ocasio-Cortez. Okay.
The problem is they don't have a deep bench.
No.
So when their agenda item fails, they move to the next one, and then when they all fail, they just kind of loop back around to the first failed one.
When the last one fails, they come back and go, racist! Because that's number 1 in the playbook, apparently. President Trump vowed to deport millions of immigrants from the United States, and he telegraphed an immigration and custom enforcement operation that targeted illegals with final deportation orders. The real list had 2,100 families on it, and it was the goal of deterring Central American immigrants, again, illegals, from trying to cross the southern border. The final tally of the operation that weekend was 18 family members were arrested and 17 undocumented immigrants were arrested. ICE announced that data yesterday morning. And so, it's a failure. See, Trump messed up again. Well, ICE has announced yesterday evening that in a period of just over 2 months, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested more than 900 people who remained in the country despite being ordered to leave. A total of 934 people were apprehended during ICE operations that started May the 13th. Notably, only 35 of those people were arrested, although 2,000 were targeted during Operation Border Resolve. Now, here's my thing. This ICE thing, I think the men and women of ICE that actually do the arresting would like to do more arresting. But I think at the highest levels of ICE, you've got some problems.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nobody that runs ICE in the higher echelons want to have that bad photo op. It's just like in New York when they dumped the water on people's heads and the cops didn't fight back. There was a reason the cops didn't fight back. They didn't want to be called racist, and they didn't want people, editing video to make them look like they were in the wrong, even though they were totally in the right.
Yeah.
Same thing with ICE. I think ICE, because the Democrats and the media are just looking for something, believe that the people that run ICE are running scared. And Trump is trying to get that fixed, but haven't done it yet. So,
it's amazing how in these Democrat cities they wonder why their police are under attack when all they've done is attack the police, free criminals, refuse to prosecute criminals, and suddenly they wonder why people don't respect law and order. Gee, go figure.
Well, my deal, like in the New York situation, thankfully it was only water, but that could escalate pretty easy.
Yeah.
And second of all, if they're willing to attack the cops openly like that, if you're another citizen that lives in that neighborhood, what are they going to do to you if they don't like you or they want something of yours?
Yep.
866-895-6442.
DWI and criminal defense attorney Ed Laughlin.
Just because you or a loved one has been pulled over or arrested for DWI does not mean you're guilty of DWI. I'm attorney Ed Laughlin, and to be arrested and charged with DWI, the officer has to only have probable cause that you're intoxicated. It's only the officer's opinion. However, to be convicted of DWI, your guilt must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a much stricter burden. If you have been arrested for DWI or any other offense and want an attorney who will rigorously defend you, call me at 1-800-492-2589 or log on to my website at edlaughlin.com. Over the past 25 years as an attorney, I've been both a prosecutor and now a defense attorney. You need an experienced attorney who will work hard to get you the justice that you deserve.
What are you waiting for? Call Ed now at 1-800-492-2589 to schedule a free confidential appointment or visit Ed's website at edlaughlin.com. First visit is always free. You're going to feel a whole lot better. See Ed's ad in names and numbers.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dave, What are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
3, 2, 1. Oh no. Which button am I?
When every second counts, you can't wing it.
Guys, a little help up here?
In a home fire, you may have less than 2 minutes to get out. So make a family home fire escape plan. Then practice home fire drills at least twice a year so everyone knows what to do when they hear. Prepare your family at ready.gov/fire drill. Brought to you by FEMA, the Ad Council, and Make Safe Happen.
I can't believe you found them.
He seems sorry.
We very clearly told him not to look up there.
I'm honestly impressed that he was able to do it.
Right? What, did he balance on that big chair?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he'll just know what his gifts are this year.
I really thought we had hidden them well.
If they can find their presents, they can find a gun.
911, what is your emergency?
Every day, 8 kids and teens are unintentionally killed or injured by loaded and unlocked guns. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and End Family Fire.
We're not going anywhere. That's the start of the segment. 866-895-6442. Glad to have you back here at the Ed Loveland Attorney at Law Studios here in Temple. 78 degrees outside. It's going to be a fairly nice day. What did they say temperature-wise was going to be? 88, 90, somewhere like that?
89 is supposed to be the high today. Okay. Here in, yeah.
That'd be nice. 866-895-6442 if you'd like to be on the program. You can also get in touch with us on the social media as well, just like Patty did. She says, doesn't Mueller look like Thurston Howell III from Gilligan's Island and act like Mr. Magoo? Holy Jim Backus references, Batman.
That's so true. That's awesome.
Thurston Howell III. Oh, Lovey and I were sitting around drinking a cocktail while all my minions were doing this report. So that's why you have to tell me what page everything's on, because I've never read the dang gum thing. Unbelievable. So let's go back to talking about the southern border. First of all, a sanctuary county has freed hundreds of illegal aliens charged with felonies. Washington State's Central Sanctuary County released hundreds of illegal aliens charged with felonies like homicide, kidnapping, sexual assault over the course of the last 2 years. Records obtained by the Immigration Reform Law Institute revealed that the sanctuary jurisdiction of King County, Washington, which includes Seattle, failed to honor more than 370 ICE requests for detainers. They were placed on the arrested illegal aliens, including those charged with serious felonies. An ICE detainer is a hold that makes the federal immigration official put it on an illegal alien who's been arrested by the local or state. But, of course, in these sanctuary cities, they'll be damned if they're going to turn them over to the feds. And so they have, in a 27-month period, they have turned people over or let them out into the general population of the United States that have been charged with kidnapping, homicide, sexual assault, robbery, aggravated assault, drugs, burglary, and even fraud. Most recently in King County, where this turnout happened, a 32-year-old woman was bound to a wheelchair and was allegedly raped by a 35-year-old illegal, Francisco Ramirez. But hey, sanctuary states and sanctuary counties, they're wonderful, aren't they? In fact, Los Angeles comes out yesterday. Their mayor, Eric Garcetti. Los Angeles is not going to help ICE.
I want every Angelino to know their rights and how to exercise them. Remember, you have the right to remain silent. You don't have to open your door to an ICE agent that doesn't have a warrant signed by a judge. You have the right to speak to a lawyer before signing any documents or speaking to law enforcement. And if you need help finding an attorney, you can call 311 and learn more about our Justice Fund and other resources that offer legal support. And whenever possible, keep a record of everything that happens. Take note of an officer's name and badge number, of when and where you're being questioned, so you can use that information in your own defense. And most importantly, I want you to know you do not need be afraid. Your city is on your side. And rest assured, here in Los Angeles, we are not coordinating with ICE.
Wow. Who the hell does he work for? Does he work for the
He works for the
people
communists.
Does he work for the people of Los Angeles, or does he work for illegal aliens?
Illegal aliens.
I know they...
Because he called it their city.
Yeah.
He said that was their city.
Yeah.
Was the illegal immigrants. So
okay.
It's not an American city. No, it's the illegal immigrant city.
Well, I tell you what, when they take over Los Angeles one of these days, it'll be interesting to see if Eric Garcetti can draw a vote.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Police chief in Los Angeles says they won't be enforcing federal immigration laws. It boggles the mind. It does.
Our police force does not do the job of federal law enforcement. So I want to reiterate what the mayor just said. The Los Angeles Police Department is not assisting ICE in any way. We will not enforce immigration laws that are civil in nature and that fall under the jurisdiction of the federal government. Immigration is a federal matter. Safety is a police matter.
Okay, let's talk to the people in King County, Washington. Safety is a police matter. Illegal immigration is a federal matter. So the good folks there in King County, Washington, where Seattle is, they release all of these people with felonies because they don't want to go with ICE. Does this sound like they're protecting their people, like that Los Angeles chief of police just said? Oh, we're here at the job to protect. Okay, so you turn down the ICE detainer, and then you just let them go. People that have been convicted of homicide, kidnapping, sexual assault over the course of 2 years. And worse than that, I mean, what else did they have on there? Well, not any worse, but aggravated assault, robbery, drugs, burglary, fraud was also some of the things that these fine folks have been doing. And they just turn them loose because we don't have to follow federal law. Well, yeah. When did that go into effect?
And then they mourn when those people go and kill American citizens. But it's not they don't mourn that much because it's an American citizen that was killed, and generally it's a white person, which is what the Democrat Party is trying to kill off anyway.
It just amazes me that and if Trump tried to do something about it and sent in like the National Guard or something, he's a dictator, he's taking over, it's martial law, oh my God. Stop me when I'm wrong.
It's funny. I was watching a story about in Killeen the other day on Saturday, I think it was. They had a protest to get rid of the Puerto Rican governor out there, and there was a woman. Do you remember the clip of here in Bell County in Belton of the woman that kept yelling the faggot word?
Yeah,
kept saying that.
Yeah,
and. Well, she was trying to convince us that she was Mexican and playing the race card. Well, in Killeen, when she was at this Puerto Rican rally, she said she was Puerto Rican. This is your Bell County Democrat Party. They just kind of morph, they identify whatever suits them.
Yeah,
same
sounds
woman.
Like it.
The same woman.
866-895-6442. When we come up, big sex traffic bust. And Trump administration wants to cut people off food stamps.
Most agents will put a sign in the ground, post it, and pray. My name is Ryan Smith of the Ryan Smith Home Selling Team and Keller Williams Realty. My business is based on getting top dollar for my clients. I believe in that so much that I will put my money where my mouth is. I will sell your house in 90 days or less, guaranteed, or I'll sell it for free. I've developed an exclusive marketing system proven to get you up to 18% more money. If you want to know how I do it, I'll send you a copy of my marketing plan for free. 254-213-5335. Using my system, I recently sold a house for Brandon and Cassidy in Temple's Wyndham Hill subdivision at the top of the market. My system gets full price offers, multiple offers, and bidding wars. That means you make the most money. Don't take chances with your equity. No obligation, no commitments. You're not happy? I'll let you out of the program. There's literally no reason not to call. 254-213-5335. That's 254-213-5335. We are the Ryan Smith Home Selling Team. Call us today and start packing tomorrow.
At Logic Nation, our power is in our callers. In fact, Pat's on the phone. Pat, welcome to Logic Nation. What's on your mind today?
I get that you're the Logic Nation, but what about love, peace, and harmony, man? Why don't you ever talk about these issues?
We try to keep our listeners informed about local issues that matter to them, both locally here in the great state of Texas and in our nation.
You talk an awful lot about freedom and constitutional rights, but what about my right to express my emotions like love, peace, and harmony? What about my right to not be offended by what you're saying?
Well, Pat, you've gotten off the Logic train, and now you're boarding the Emotional Express. That's a high-speed rail to nowhere. Here at Logic Nation, irrational emotional instability has no place in logical discussion.
But I need constant reassurance that my emotional stability will be coddled and my opinions force-fed to me.
Listen to Logic Nation Monday through Friday from 8 to 11 a.m., right before Rush, right here on KTEM, where logic is never derailed by emotion.
Has your perfect candidate been eliminated from a political race? Have your values and conceits been put upon and bruised? Well, don't fret over hashtag dumps or I'll never whatevers. It's time for you to try Voter Agra. Yes, Voter Agra takes your deep depression from your candidate losing and makes your vote rise like a phoenix from the ashes of defeat. Voter Agra makes you turn down griping and moaning and lets you enjoy the old-time thrill of voting. So lose your sullenness and get your voter suddenness back with huge results. Voter Agra. Isn't it time you tried Voter Agra and got back into the political game again? Voter Agra. Available now at IHateAllCandidates.com and I'm right and everyone else is wrong.com. Voter Agra. Welcome back into Logic Nation on your Wednesday Mueller Day. And the thing is, this one's winding down. But there's another one coming up, back-to-back Mueller hearings. Adam Schiff will be in charge of the next one. Which is, golly, let me think about this for a minute. Nadler and Schiff. Yeah. It's a step down when you go to Schiff from Nadler. I mean, even though I don't like Nadler very much, Schiff is even worse. Little pencil neck geek. Anyway, see, I'm name calling again. See, you get me to doing that every once in a while.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
We just play by their rules.
Yeah, they'll eat me up on Facebook now. You're name calling. So what? Anyway, FBI agents and police officers fanned out across the country last month in a week-long effort to rescue child sex trafficking victims. They pull minors as young as 11 years old from hotel rooms, truck stops, and homes. So 168 juveniles were recovered. A population that child welfare advocates say is of special concerns to them is some of those 168 kids were never reported missing. That would make you believe, if you want to have any logic to you at all, that they were either they ran away and the parents didn't care, or the parents sold them. I mean, that's about as dirt. You know, I can't say words. The FCC won't let me to describe that. I mean, that if your parents sold you into a sex trafficking ring. I mean, they don't say it in this story, but 168 kids, and some of them were never reported missing. What does that tell you? Somebody's profiting off of this, and it ain't just the sex traffickers. That's pathetic. Anyway, so federal law does require law enforcement agents to enter missing children into the FBI's National Crime Information Center, a database available to law enforcement officers nationwide, but that presumes police have provided the names and have enough specific details about the child. So some of it might be just lost in the paperwork, but I guarantee you some of them, I bet you anything that some of them were sold into those sex trafficking rings. That's what the coyotes are doing. They're borrowing, buying little children to help illegal aliens come over here and go into ask for asylum, because they know if you bring a kid over, then that's more special than if you're just a 35-year-old man that walks across the border.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're told to bring kids. I mean, you had that one from Guatemala or El Salvador, that bought a child for $83.
Yeah, I know. So we've got proof that that's happening. That's why I say this. This is in America. There's 168 kids, and some of them weren't even reported missing. Some of that's got to be that. Some parent out there or parents are just disgusting. New York Times has an ad running of kids allegedly reading letters from illegal immigrant kids. Now, this is interesting. Do these kids actually read Spanish? Anyway, but this is a New York Times ad of kids reading illegal immigrant kids' letters.
We came to the U.S. because there were people who wanted to hurt us.
I'm hungry here at Clint all the time. I'm so hungry that I've woken up in the middle of the night with hunger. I'm too scared to ask the officials for any more food.
There isn't water or soap to wash our hands after we use the bathroom. We have to ask for toilet paper if we want any.
My sister and I hold a blanket up for one another so no one can see us go to the bathroom. I am 5 years old. I am from Honduras. I am 7 years old. I am from El Salvador.
Can write.
What now?
How many 5-year-olds do you know that can write letters?
My daughter at 5 could write, but I mean, she wasn't writing letters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
she could probably write letters, like actual letters, ABC.
Yeah. Sure.
But she wasn't writing sentences and letters.
No, she wasn't doing that. But the thing is, this is all propaganda. We have to cover ourselves with blankets so we can use the restroom. We've seen pictures from the detention centers. There's doors in the restrooms. They're not. They've got water. They've got food. And I was too afraid to ask.
It's all just emotional. It's just emotional hype. They're trying to work on the emotions. You get a couple of child actors in there to read letters and make it sound all. How many takes did it take? Oh, no. Okay, what I need you to do is look down slightly.
Yeah.
Just lower your lower lip, kind of pout a little bit when you say it.
It's like, Casey, I need a little more emotion.
That's right. Can you cry?
Can
I get a tear?
Yeah, that's right. Can you make your voice warble just a little bit? Meanwhile, the Trump administration is set to propose a rule that would cut about 3.1 million Americans from the food stamp program in an effort to save taxpayers about $2.5 billion a year because of the low levels of unemployment. And Trump tweeted earlier this month that food stamp use is at a 10-year low. It might be time for it to get a little lower. Right after the Mueller investigation, the Democrats and the media will be whining about this. Back to wrap it up next.
Here's the way most people think of work zones on Texas highways.
I drive all over the state, and work zones are everywhere. They really slow me down.
Oh, they make me crazy. I have to drop my speed from 65 to 55 to 45. Can't they just finish already?
I depend on my cruise control, but every time I come into a work zone, I've got to turn it off and on and off and back on again. It's frustrating.
And those frustrations are understandable. But if people thought about it realistically, they might say things like this.
I'm slowing down and being extra careful because I don't want to cause a crash or get hurt or kill somebody.
Oh, sure, it's a pain right now, but when they're finished, we're going to have the best roads in the country.
Work zone ahead. Fines double. I'm slowing down.
Last year, more than 15,000 crashes occurred in Texas work zones, and more than 100 people lost their lives. So when you enter a work zone, slow down, pay extra attention, and stay away from that cell phone. Be safe. Drive smart. This message brought to you by the Texas Department of Transportation.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting.
Location.
In the forest, near the side of the road.
No need for alarm, sir. The forest is where bears live.
But this was no ordinary bear.
No ordinary bear?
Yeah, 1 second, I'm having a smoke taken in the view. Next thing I know, I am face to face with Smokey Bear.
Let me guess, Smokey had a tip for you.
He did. He must have seen me toss my cigarette on the ground. He told me never to do that because it only takes one spark to start a wildfire.
He's a smart bear. Did you know that 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans? That means 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
That's what Smokey said. I had no idea.
That's why Smokey's famous, and you're not.
Good point.
If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference, because 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans. Brought to you by Smokey Bear, the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Psst. Yeah, it's me, your heart. Listen to me. We've got to talk. High blood pressure is serious, and yours? Whoa. What happened to us? We used to be so much more active, but lately you've been ignoring me. I know you think I'm just gonna keep ticking away forever, but you're wrong. You can do so much more to control your high blood pressure. Doing the minimum isn't doing enough. I'm under a lot of pressure and can quit whenever I want. Bet you didn't know that. But I like my job. Just treat me better. Check on me. Give me something green to nibble on every once in a while. And maybe we can do some exercise on occasion. Let's get to it. After all, we're in this together.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Play it, Jughead. 866-895-6442. Dave and CJ here, wrapping up Logic Nation for your Wednesday. Yeah, the Trump administration is proposing a rule that would cut 3.1 million people from food stamp program. The move has been criticized by Senator Debbie Stanbano. She's a Democrat from Michigan. What? Whoa, wait. Uh-oh. I thought Rashida Tlaib was the only Democrat person from Michigan. What?
It's the only one they want you to know about.
Oh, okay.
Trump has done a great job at that.
She told the Washington Post that the move is either another attempt by Trump administration to circumvent Congress and make harmful changes to nutrition assistance that has been repeatedly rejected on a bipartisan basis. Now, we've got school districts feeding kids 3 meals a day, in some cases even in the summertime, and Trump wants to cut a bit of the foods, what they're calling the food stamp program. We know it's cards everywhere. It's like the Lone Star card here. But that's not enough. It's always for the kids. It's always for the starving, right?
For the children.
Yeah, the poor in America are nothing, shoot. Go down there and talk to some of those South Americans. They know about poor, even though they're still illegals, but they know about poor. New York police are slamming the video showing officers pelting with objects and drenched with water as reprehensible. In one video, somebody hurls a bucket that hit an officer in the head while he was making an arrest in Harlem, and groups of cheering bystanders could be heard reacting as people continued to splash the officers with water. The cops did nothing because they knew better. They didn't want to they didn't want to ruin their careers. They didn't want Bill de Blasio getting ready to fire them all. The former mayor, Rudy Giuliani, he pointed the finger squarely at Bill de Blasio yesterday.
Good, that's
saying that would never have happened in a million years when I was mayor.
Now, ready for some controversy?
Yeah.
I don't condone, and I actually object to throwing water on cops.
Well,
I also don't condone, and I don't support having people stop and frisked for no reason whatsoever. And so I'm just going to be objective here.
Well, this wasn't a stop and frisk. This
I'm going to tie these two together because I've been watching all the coverage of this, and I've been listening to the New York police officers unions and the chief himself come on to Fox News and all these other media outlets to talk about this story. And one of the things they're blaming is the fact that we're not allowed to stop and frisk anymore.
Yeah, like what they did when Rudy was there.
So I'm okay with that. So you're telling me that the reason you're being disrespected is because you can't violate people's rights anymore?
Well, the thing is, okay, yeah, I'll probably go with you on stop and frisk. But one thing that Giuliani did was, he wanted to get the small crime stopped first and then go and move on up and make it harder. He didn't like, if they jumped the turnstile to get on the subway for free, he wanted that person arrested. And they got a lot of them that way because they clamped down on the laws.
Yeah.
Now, stop and frisk, yeah, that's debatable. But if the turnstile thing, I don't care. Oh, yeah, it's a small thing. Bill de Blasio thinks, there's no reason to, get anybody in trouble for that.
Well, I think they've just been asking the wrong questions. The question is, why do people feel like they have to throw water on police officers? What? Because
they can?
Well, exactly, but why? Why are they doing it? They're not throwing water on politicians. They're not throwing water on EMS personnel. They're not throwing water on fire departments. They're only doing this to police officers. Why is that? Now, I'm not saying there's an answer because I think it's a very we could do a whole show on the answer to that question.
But I'll say one thing. It was that particular the one that I talked about where the guy got hit in the head with the bucket. That was in Harlem. So Black Lives Matter might have something to do with it.
Yes, but could also the fact that a man was murdered over a cigarette have something to do with it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. When your life is less important than the selling of a cigarette?
Yeah.
When the state creates laws that don't hurt anybody, and you're able to be killed over that, do you think maybe that's part of the problem?
That probably should have something to do with it as well. Yes.
So anyway, I mean, I think we're just asking the wrong question. Again, that is not an excuse to go around assaulting police officers who are doing their job arresting a criminal, regardless of what that crime is.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to start looking at what crimes are we going after, and are they moral?
There you go. Yesterday we told you about this former judge, who was dragged out of a courtroom because really helping her brother keep his job with Hamilton County in 2014. And they failed to overturn her conviction, and she was ordered to serve time in jail. Well, she just locked down on the security there at the courthouse. They hauled her out, kicking and screaming. And now, guess what? She claims she was injured, and it's time for the lawsuit. Have yourself a great day. God bless America. God bless President Trump.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team